Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists episode 567. My name is Kyle.
My name is James.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk about movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. Guys, I was thinking about this episode.
All right.
And right now, it's Lunar New Year didn't happen that long ago. Chinese New Year didn't happen that long ago or is going on as we speak. And since this is kind of the last time we talk about 2022 and look forward to 2023, should we call this episode Cinereelists New Year?
No. It's so dumb.
Wait, is the definition of New Year the last time you
Right.
talk about the previous year?
No, I think New Year is like when you reflect upon the previous year and look forward to the upcoming year. And that's what the Hangover episode is.
Is that
This is
how,
our...
like millennia ago, they marked the new year? They just talked about the previous year. And
Yeah. They're like,
Actually, Kyle's convincing me.
oh, excellent. Wow. That's a
Yeah.
rare moment where I convince Zach on one of my half-pot ideas.
Oh,
We're reflecting on the former year.
Yeah.
We're thinking about the year to come. And James is hungover.
Yeah.
no.
As James is most episodes.
I
so-
did drink today, which is a
Oh.
rarity for a Sunday. My brother-in-law, it was his 53rd birthday, and so I met them out in New Smyrna Beach at this like tiki bar by the water, and it was great. And I had like one of the best Bloody Marys I've ever had in my life. It was awesome. And then some other people showed up that I didn't really know that were like friends of my sister and my brother-in-law's. And they were fun people, but I got up to go to the bathroom, right? And I had intentionally milked this, Bloody Mary so that I had a drink, but wasn't drinking a lot because I had to drive back to Orlando, which is an hour and a half away. So I get up to go to the bathroom and I come back and there's a zombie there, which is a drink that's like 3 different types of rum. And this place is known for this drink, and supposedly like they won't even let you order 3 of them. Like you can have 2, but they won't give you a third because you can't drive home if you have a third. And I was like, I was about to get out of here. So I had like 3 sips and gave it to my sister. I was like, I can't drink that. There's not a chance I'm getting home if I drink that. So I'm not hungover. However, I don't typically drink before recording the podcast. And today I did.
All right.
Yeah, that's James. Your speech is so slurred.
I know.
I didn't catch half of that story
It
whatsoever.
really is.
Yeah.
It really
What-
is.
What I took away from that story is that I like that this bar has a drink where they cut you off, not because it's too strong to have it at all. It's just
Mhm.
too much to have for driving home.
Well, that's
So,
what they
like-
said. I don't know if that's the official
Okay.
line from the bar.
They're like, look, you can have 2 of these. You're still under 0.08, but after that, you can't go home, okay?
They breathalyze everybody as you walk out the door. So just to make sure. That would be a very responsible bar, I would say, if they did that.
Are there any bars where you have to like turn in your keys?
I'm sure there is, but I don't know of it.
I mean, I guess swinger bars probably.
It's a little bit of a buzzkill if they're like, hey, turn in your keys and we're going to breathalyze you on your way out. I mean, doesn't sound like a party place to me.
I mean, it sounds like a responsible place. but
Sure.
not a place you would find within these United States of America.
They should just have a bar with a lot of bunk beds. Like you just rent a bed.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what bar owners really want. A bunch of drunk people staying the night. sounds even more fun than drunk people in your establishment.
This discussion that we're having right now has literally nothing to do with what we're here to do today. And we have a lot to do. So I'm going to nip it in the bud. Is that the term? Or nip it in the butt?
Cut it out.
Yeah,
Cut it
I was
out.
thinking cut it out when he did that.
Okay.
I
What is
would
that
say-
from? Family?
No,
Full
it's
House?
from Full House.
Step by step.
Uncle,
Yeah.
no,
Full House.
yeah, Full House.
Yeah.
Uncle
Dave
Jesse,
Coulier.
Uncle Joey. I mean, Uncle Joey would say cut it out.
Do you know why Dave Coulier is infamous in the world of music?
It's because Alanis Morissette.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Is this news to you, Zach?
No, it's not.
Okay.
The shock of it has not worn off.
Welcome to 1995.
Yeah, the shock that you ought to know is about Dave Coulee, Uncle Jesse,
No,
Joey.
Uncle
Joey. Why
my
did they give
gosh.
them both J names?
Who's been drinking today?
They were born that way. What do you mean give them?
No, well, I mean, there were show writers. They made these decisions.
Well, yes, but in the universe of that world, they just had those names.
What was Bob Saget's character's name? Was he a J also?
Dad. I don't know.
Dad, right?
Danny Tanner.
Danny. Okay, so were those his brothers? Were they actual uncles, or were they like
no,
friends?
no. They were friends.
Okay, all right. Okay.
It would be if like the three of us all lived together.
It would
Yeah.
be exactly like that.
I mean, in this case, James would
let's leave it there.
definitely be Uncle Joey.
In like a $3 million brownstone in San Francisco.
Right. Yeah. I think
all right.
Zach and I need to duke it out for who's Danny.
If you have strong opinions on who's the Danny, who's the Joey, and who's the Jesse, heyguys at Cinereelists.com. Send us an email. You could also send us a movie suggestion, list suggestion, any of those kinds of things. We got a bunch of emails in the last week or 2 or 3. People sending us their top 10s of 2022. We're going to talk the listener aggregate list. We put all those together into one mega list that Zach's going to review for us in a few minutes. Right after I tell you there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search Cinereelists, find us there, and subscribe, listen while you watch. You could support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Cinereelists. Go check that out, or leave us an Apple Podcast review. That one is free. Give us a 5-star review. Leave a little bit of text in the review, and we'll discuss it on the podcast. With that, guys, maybe the craziest episode of the year for us is the Hangover episode, which is this episode, if you did not know. This is the episode with the most lists of any podcast that has ever existed in one episode, right?
And it's so many. We honestly do not know how many lists are in this episode
Right.
because each of us come with our own lists,
Yeah.
and we haven't told each other. So we don't even know how many lists are in this episode.
Who could know? Nobody.
I might make a list as we go along here.
A list of the lists.
A list of lists, yeah.
Sure. Hey, we've never made a list of lists. We should do that at some point.
We've talked about doing something like that.
We should do our top 10, last 10, top 10.
I want to
I
do.
think that's what we talked about. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do a top 100, top 10, last 10,
Okay.
where we
Wait,
only
s-
take the number ones on a top 10, last 10 list after we do 100 top 10, last 10s, and then rank all those against each other.
Nice.
I would totally be down for that one.
I wonder how
Everyone's
many
number
in-
one's correct. It's not a consensus one.
Wait, you want to wait until we have 100?
We have to
'Cause
wait till
that's-
Kyle has 100.
Well, no, we don't need 100. We just like when you guys do them, there's 2 number ones right there.
Oh.
And then when I'm on, there's 3. So we really need like 70.
That means we have to have watched all of each other's number ones on every top 10, last 10, which has not happened, guaranteed.
That might be when we call the podcast, like our final episode. We
Right.
rank the top 100, top 10, last 10 number ones, and then
I think we
call
could
it quits.
we could squeak by with a last 10, top 10. Top
Sure.
10?
I think we could do that for sure. But we can't do that before we get through this episode. And this episode has a bunch of lists, and we got to get to it, or else this is going to be a 4-hour podcast, and nobody wants that, I don't think. So let's jump into it. First up, we've got our listener top 10 of 2020's aggregate list. Zach, you're the master of this. Hit me.
Okay, so every year we ask for our listeners if they want, they can send in their top 10 or top 20 favorite movies of the year. I collect them and then work a little bit of Excel magic on them through an algorithm that I've honed over the years of Cinereelists into a very tight package in which in this year's list, it was clear. There was no ambiguity about what the top 10 was.
Really?
I've so honed in how I calculate this.
Okay.
But there were 62 separate movies in contention.
Wow.
Okay.
So 62 movies appeared in a top 10 list by someone that listens to the show. And I was surprised at the number one. I was surprised.
Really?
I wonder if you two will as well. Number 10, anyone want to guess? Is there any way we can make a game out of this, or you just want me to say them?
I think
I
for
think
the
you need
sake
to
of
say it.
brevity, you just gotta say it.
Okay. For the sake of brevity, I will say that number 10, there is a weapon and a mode of transportation. Any guesses?
I was gonna say Top Gun Maverick, but that's not
No.
quite
It's
there.
Bullet Train.
Bullet
Okay.
Train.
Bullet Train. I don't know. Technically, bullet is a weapon. Probably not.
It's not a weapon.
Maybe a munition. I should have said a munition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 8
Wait,
is a direction.
number 9.
Number 9. It's a direction and a sex.
Zach, this is gonna take forever.
It's the Northman.
The Northman.
Okay.
The Northman. Number 9.
You know I hate these games, don't you? Remember we did this a couple
Yes,
weeks
I do.
ago.
Yes, I do. Okay,
Okay.
how about this? Number 8's a sequel
Top Gun
that made
Maverick.
$2 billion.
Top Gun Maverick,
Avatar
yeah.
2.
Yeah, Avatar 2: The Way of
Oh,
Water
okay.
is number 8.
Okay.
Number 7 is The Menu.
All right.
Number 6 is Knives Out, Glass Onion, whatever. Glass
Mhm.
Onion.
Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery.
No Knives
Yes.
Out mystery. That's disrespectful to Ryan.
Yeah, it's just Glass Onion.
Glass Onion. Okay.
Number 5, can you guess it?
I'm gonna keep saying Top
Nope.
Gun Maverick until
Nope.
it comes up.
Everything Everywhere
It's-
All at Once.
Nope.
All right.
It's nope.
It's Nope.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 4, The Banshees of Inisherin.
Mhm.
All right.
Number 3, Kyle, can you guess it?
Oh, it's gotta be Top Gun Maverick.
It's Top Gun Maverick,
right.
number 3.
All right.
Number 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, that is surprising. But it's.
Can you guys
let's see.
guess what the number 1 is?
Ooh, what are we
Hmm.
missing?
What was a crowd
So we have Bullet
pleaser
Train,
from last year?
The Northman, Avatar 2, The Menu, Glass Onion, Nope, Banshees of Inisherin, Top Gun Maverick, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and number 1.
Puss in
I don't-
Boots.
No,
I don't think it's Tar.
it's not Tar.
Okay.
I will say I think that this one benefited from the fact that a lot of people saw it.
Right. That's what I'm trying to
So in
think
order
of.
to do well on this list, it has to be something that a lot of people see in order to have on their list.
Who saw what did people see more than Avatar 2? That was, a lot of people saw that.
The number 1
Multiverse of Madness?
listener favorite of 2022, The Batman.
The Batman.
Okay.
Of course.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
That is a strange number 1 though, over Everything Everywhere All at Once, I would say.
Yeah, right.
It really makes you question the algorithm.
Don't question it. They were on the same number of lists, The Batman and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
Hmm.
They were on the same number of lists, but The Batman was higher ranked overall
Excellent.
on those lists.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I disagree with our listeners then. As a whole.
Also, I don't include our lists on these aggregate lists.
Sure.
Just FYI.
Right,
That
because
makes sense.
this is a listener.
While we're listening right now, we're not listeners.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so the Batman listener number 1 of 2022. That's actually
Can you speed round 11 to 20? Do you have that?
Hold on. Let me.
I'm just curious.
Let's see. Those aren't exactly calculated in the same way, but I can tell you roughly what they would have been.
sure.
Okay. So they might not be in the exact order, but they're roughly.
I will tell you it. I don't know what order. Well, they'll be in this rough order.
Okay.
Okay. Counting up from about 21 to 11. Okay.
Okay.
Because I'd have to figure out which is which. 3,000 Years of Longing, The Whale, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent,
Mhm.
The Gray Man, Tar, Men, Hustle, Emily the Criminal, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Bones and All, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and After Sun.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
some more prestige picks in that number 11 through 20.
More than likely, Bones of All or Black Panther would have been number 11.
Okay.
I didn't like Bones and All, but it's fine if other people do, I guess.
You just said you disagreed with the listener's number 1.
Yeah.
And now it's fine for people who like movies. Which is it, James?
No, it's fine. It's fine for them to like Batman, but over Everything Everywhere All at Once, I don't know about that.
The Batman was, I'm looking, 4 different people's number 1. And Everything Everywhere All at Once was 2 people's number 1.
Well, James liked the emails for those 4 people, please.
And those are just for
Yeah.
the people that put him in the number 1 slots,
Right,
not
yeah.
just around.
It's
Cool.
fine. It's fine. I'll get over it, but a little salty about it. I you know what I wouldn't have been shocked is if like Top Gun Maverick was number 1 over Everything Everywhere All at
Right.
Once. I'm surprised that Batman beat Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's kind of surprising to me, but it's fine. Well, thank you everyone for sending in your listener top 10s of 2022. We appreciate all the lists.
Yeah.
I personally have picked through each one as well and got some recommendations of things I didn't think about or things I didn't prioritize. So I'll be watching more 2022 movies in these first couple months, 2023. And we appreciate your input and involvement. All right, guys, let's move on to discussing our 2022 movie habits. So, broadly, because we're going to go into some statistics here, how did you guys feel about your movie habits in 2022? Did you do anything different? Did you, et cetera, et cetera? Anybody have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I found myself not watching quite as many movies this year as previous years.
Okay.
And I'm not quite sure why that was. If there's other things I was doing, or I'm not sure. I still watch a ton of movies compared to probably your average person. But
Sure.
yeah, it was definitely a little bit lower. And that you would think with me doing the podcast and watching movies for the podcast, it would be a higher count. But this year came on the lower end.
Well, you do have to dedicate one evening a night to not watching a movie. So maybe that would
Yes.
slow you down. 52 nights a year. Zach, I know you
yeah.
have some obvious changes to your movie habit, but
I mean, this year I've watched so many less movies. It's just I've been so busy, and then a lot of times I would like watch a documentary while I'm working or something like that.
Mhm.
But so much of my work requires me to pay attention and listen to things
Mhm.
that I can't even do that, and so it's dropped way down. But I mean, thankful for the show. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have watched barely any movies.
Mhm.
This show forces me to watch movies. But I see this as a temporary condition because I still love movies. So so we'll see what happens in the future. But I just
Sure.
remember like 10 years ago in 2012, I watched 310 movies.
Wow.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
I've never even posted numbers like that. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah. So very different this year. We'll get into actual numbers, but yeah. So what about you, James?
Not a whole lot has changed other than I started to creep back into theaters in 2022. I mean, there was a little bit of that in 2021, but 2022 stepped up the game a little bit, started actually getting money's worth out of my AMC A-list subscription, and it's still not anywhere near what I was doing in 2019, but I'm at least back at the theater like twice a month at minimum, compared to like twice a week in 2019. So yeah, it's slowly coming back in that sense. Also, they're just releasing more movies. They're back to not quite a full load, but they're definitely stepping up the number of releases every year again. And so that was a change. But other than that, not too big a swing in any direction. Let's talk numbers though. every year we do an average rating of 2022 movies versus like the year before, current year versus year before. In 2021, based on my Letterboxd ratings, I scored all 2021 movies that I had seen a 3.26. In 2022, I ranked them a 3.23. So really not much of a change, like 0.03, almost the same. I felt like 2022 was a better year, but I guess on average, if you include everything I watched, pretty much the same year as 2021. How about you guys?
Yeah, so in 2021, I averaged 3.32 stars,
Mhm.
and 2022 averaged 3.39 stars. So a 0.07 difference, not a huge difference between the 2 years. Though, James, I do agree. I do feel like 2022 movies overall were better
Mhm.
than 2021, probably because a lot of movies that we would have gotten in 2021 and 2020 were sat on for a couple of years and finally pushed out this year.
Sure.
Could also just be recency bias. Like it feels like they were better because you saw them sooner.
That's true.
But when you look at the cold hard numbers, they're the same.
Normally I would agree, but 2021 was a strange year. I mean, just like the amount of movies that were released. I mean, that's not a normal year for sure.
So my numbers are a little bit further away than yours, but still, I'm not sure it's statistically significant.
Mhm.
We'll see. My 2021 numbers were 3.55, and my 2022 were 3.31.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
that's a
0.16 less.
Yeah, it's definitely a bigger swing than Kyle and I had, for sure. Do you think that's because you're just being far more selective?
If I was being more selective, I was selecting worse movies because it went down.
That's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't know.
Do you think that's because
you're
maybe
only
maybe it's
watching
opposite
the
because you
podcast.
don't have the choice, right? You're watching most of the podcast, which may or may not be good, versus like movies that you want to watch tend to be on the better side because of that.
So that's
bias.
actually probably more accurate. So if it's just me deciding to watch a movie, it's 100% me deciding I want to watch this movie.
Right.
If it's a podcast, it's 33% me deciding I want to watch this movie.
Right.
So possibly, who knows?
That all makes sense. That number, the 3.23, is based on having watched 116 2022 movies in 2022, which is up from last year. Last year I watched 92, so I went up 24 movies compared to last year. I don't feel like I watched 24 more or 1/5 more or whatever that would come out to. But I did. How many movies did you guys watch in 2022?
So I watched a total of 169 movies in 2022 from all years. 56 of 56 of those were actually 2022 movies, which made about a third of my watching habit. You compare that to last year. Last year I watched 182 movies, and 48 of those were from 2021, which is only a quarter. So even though I watched less movies overall in 2022, a higher percentage of them were from the actual year compared to 2021.
Nice.
Gotcha. Okay, well, this year I watched 65 total movies in 2022.
Okay.
And 36 of them were 2022 films.
So
And
almost half.
yeah. And then last year I watched 56 2021 films. And I don't know how many I watched overall.
Sure. Well, overall in 2022, I watched 231, which was up 47 from 2021.
Wow.
So I'm not hitting those 300 numbers. I don't think I've ever hit a 300 number. That's a lot. That's like almost one every day. I can't keep up with that. But
at this point in my life, if I hit 300, I'd maybe be a little ashamed for myself.
Sure. It helps to work at home and have no kids in the house.
Right.
For sure. Absolutely. Because I can wake up and like make breakfast and watch a movie and answer emails. You know what I mean? While it's happening, type of thing. Yeah.
Now, I will say I didn't count. We have pizza movie night every week at my house.
Mhm.
So every Friday night we watch a movie. I didn't count any of those movies
What?
because well, because we watch the same movies all the time. So
You're still watching
I mean,
a movie though.
Yeah.
absolutely. So I've probably seen Cinderella 10 times, Robin Hood 20 times,
Oh,
that all those kind of things.
You
So
should-
those numbers like
you should
add up.
absolutely include that.
Yeah.
Zach.
Those there are movies you watch. They should be logged in that diary on Letterboxd.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, they're certainly not 2022 movies, but I've seen a lot of those. I've seen a lot of Finding Dory. Oh my goodness.
Have you tried pushing them towards new kids movies, or are they still at the point where like they just want to keep watching the same ones over and over again?
No, it's more I would want to know what's in a new kid movie before they saw it, and I just haven't watched any of them.
I should refresh that. Not new kid movies, new movies to them, like movies that you know are appropriate.
No, for sure. We definitely would rather watch a new to them movie.
Yeah.
It's just they're still at the like G level, not PG.
Yep.
Level, and so those G movies kind of run out as far as like ones worth watching.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, when they're ready, Jaws is rated PG, so you can just jump right into that one.
I'm sure they'll be real interested in that movie.
So far, let me think the movies that are the scariest to them. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's the scariest to Jacob.
Is that with Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey or the
No,
animated
the
one?
cartoon.
Oh, the
The
cartoon.
animated
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the Jim Carrey one, I could totally see anyone being scared by that one.
Oh yeah, I won't see that. It's too scary. And then I definitely made the mistake of showing Inside Out to Kayla. That was
a little too high concept.
a little too
and-
much.
she just was weeping at that one.
With Bing
I
Bong?
felt terrible. No, we didn't even get that far.
Oh, okay.
Just when the islands, the core islands, started falling into the pit,
yeah.
and she's like, just thinking that she's never gonna get those back. It's just terrifying.
But
Well-
you didn't let her finish the movie, so now she thinks she doesn't know what happened.
Oh no, I would have. She did not want.
Oh,
to
she was
finish
not
the
into
movie.
it. She was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'd rather not.
I was like, let's get resolution, but no.
Interesting. Okay,
So-
so a lot of Zach's, which he didn't count, were rewatches. I had 25 rewatches in 2022, which is about on my average. And then I also figured out what I watched on the streaming services. I watched 3 Amazon movies, 2 Apple TV movies, 5 Disney Plus movies, 5 HBO Max, Hulu, only 1, and 20 Netflix movies.
Nice. If
I
had
also
thought about-
watched 36 Blu-rays, which was up 3 from last year.
Nice.
I'm gonna try and remember to do that for next year, James, because I tag all my movies, like where I
Yeah.
watch them, how I watch them. So
Sure.
I'm gonna make a note now because I'm not gonna remember a year from now to do that.
All right.
I rewatched 55 movies in 2022, which is another third of my watch. So if it's interesting, a third of my movies were from 2022. A third of my movies were rewatches, making the last third were movies I chose for me that were brand new. So I didn't realize until now that was like a perfectly even split between those 3 choices.
Sure. Nice.
That's awesome. Well, I guess I don't really log rewatches, but
Mm-hmm.
I probably had 50 of them.
They were the same
of
5 movies.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they grown out of babies yet? Or is that one still
Oh yeah,
in the
yeah.
rotation?
We haven't watched Babies
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
In fact, we stopped watching Babies because some of the babies have bad attitudes, and
And they were
Our-
catching it.
our daughter started hitting people because the kids and babies hit people.
Oh.
So we stopped doing that. But I've probably seen Babies 30 times. I considered putting that on the list of documentaries that Kyle should watch.
Spoiler.
All right. So those are our individual movie stats, but I brought one that is related to us as a podcast.
Yeah.
As a podcast, we released 53 episodes, like main show episodes in 2022. That if you were to listen to them from beginning to end without stopping, would take you 4 days, 12 hours, 29 minutes, and 19 seconds to finish. So if you listen to everything we released publicly in 2022, 4.5 days it would take you to listen to that.
So over 100 hours.
Right. Spread across 30 after shows, we released 14 hours, 32 minutes, and 11 seconds to Patreon listeners. So about a half a day, roughly a little more than half a day of audio to people who supported us in 2022. Altogether, if you combine everything, we released 5 days, 3 hours, 1 minute, and 30 seconds of audio and video in 2022. It was the first year where everything we released had video on YouTube. And I don't know how YouTube stays up. I mean, that is a lot of video from one podcast. I can't imagine how much storage they have to have. It's like kind of unfathomable that they allow people to upload 5 days worth of video and they don't charge you a single red cent.
Right.
It's kind of amazing that still happens. But yeah. So if you listen to every episode over the course of last year, congratulations. You've heard us speak for at least 4.5 days. And if you're a Patreon listener, possibly over 5 days, just to put everything in perspective. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about the idea that your voice might be in somebody's ear a total of 5 days of their last 365?
I think that's great. I think that's great that there are people who want to hear me and us talk about movies for a couple hours every week.
Mm-hmm.
And like care enough about my opinion. So I think it's wonderful that there's people out there who are like, yeah, I want to hear this guy babble about movies for a couple hours. Sounds like a good time.
All right.
If someone listens to every episode,
Mm-hmm.
then they were listening to us for more than 1% of their year.
Right. Yep.
Nice. Well, hi.
I like it.
Yeah. I say thank you. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with us.
Absolutely. This has been fun,
Gotta learn
guys.
a language or something.
The Hangover episode, always fun. But the name of the game is lists. And so it's time to get into some 2022 lists. We've each made these, but instead of going round robin, which is what we typically do on the podcast, we're going to go, each person's going to run down their list, speed round style. And we're going to try not to spend too long on these lists because there are a ton to get through, starting with the top 10 best performances of 2022. Who wants to go first? How about Kyle? Kyle, why don't
I'd
you
love
go
to
first?
go first. All right. I think last year I copped out and did not rank these. So this year I rank them number 10 to number 1.
Nice.
So my number 10 is Rachel Sennett in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That's the A24 horror movie about a bunch of, I guess, Zoomers hanging out in the house during a hurricane. And each of them has their own, they're all pretty vapid characters. But Rachel Sennett by far was the most vapid of all of them. She goes on and on about her podcast throughout the episode or throughout the movie about why no one listens to it. And she just wants to party and have a good time. And I thought her performance was great in that movie and hilarious.
Agreed. She was the only part of that movie I liked.
Okay, I'm glad we can agree on something for that movie. My number 9 is Wagner Moura in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This is a voice performance. He plays this wolf bounty hunter. That's kind of this antagonist throughout the movie. And it is a scary performance. And it is great to see a scary character in a kid's movie. Zach, do not show that movie to your kids yet. Number 8, Ki Hai Kwan from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Great to see him back. And then just the range he showed in that movie from being this doofy husband, all of a sudden changing on a dime to being this like incredible martial arts master. I thought it was a great range from him. Number 7, Lashana Lynch from The Woman King. She played one of the not the general, but one of the, officers within Viola Davis's army. And I thought she was a bright spot in that movie. Number 6, Carrie Condon from The Banshees of Inisherin. This whole cast was great. It was hard to pick one, so I actually chose 2. One will be coming later. and just her character's ability to sort of deal with her brother, but also try and see the bigger picture, I thought was wonderful. Number 5, Rebecca Hall in Resurrection. This is a really hard movie to watch about trauma and abuse, and Rebecca Hall does an incredible job with the material. And she has one of my favorite scenes of the year also, which I'll discuss in the upcoming list. Number 4, Angela Bassett, Wakanda Forever. I thought when I saw that movie, like, this is an Oscar-worthy performance, and sure enough, she got that nomination. So I'm very happy to see that. Number 3, Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just like Ki Hai Kwan, showing a ton of range in that movie, and great to see her in a starring role with all her talents on display. Number 2, Colin Farrell, Banshees of Inisherin. I love his use of the word feckin' throughout that movie, amongst other things. He's just great in that movie, with great script. So much I can say about that. And then my number 1 favorite performance of the year is Cate Blanchett in Tar. She's playing Lydia Tar. It's a complicated character, and she plays it so well. That movie survives and does so well based on her performance.
Nice.
Awesome.
James, what you got?
These were tough for me. They're always tough for me, just because there's definitely like some top line performances that I think a lot of people would appreciate. There was a bunch that Kyle mentioned that I'm like, I eliminated that person, but they should probably be on this list type of thing. But this is my list. I'm sticking with it. My number 10, Jenny Slate, doing the voice of Marcel from Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I thought she was great. And the whole movie kind of hinged on you falling in love with that character, and the voice was a big part of that. My number 9 is the creepy kid from The Innocents. If you haven't seen that, you don't know what I'm talking about. And if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My number 8, Thuzo Mbedu from The Woman King, who's kind of like the young upstart of the group. I thought she was awesome and relatable, and yeah, just held her own opposite a really talented cast for sure. And I liked her performance. My number 7, Callie Reese from Catch the Fair One, which was on my top 20. It's that movie, the revenge film where a sister enters a human trafficking ring on purpose in order to figure out where her sister has ended up because her sister was trafficked. It's a tough movie, but Callie Reese at the center of it was pretty great. My number 6, Margaret Qualley from Stars at Noon. This was an honorable mention, this movie was, and I blew by it and said I didn't remember anything about it. And then after the podcast, I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's this movie. I wish I could have talked about this movie. She's really good in this. It's an A24 movie about a reporter in Argentina or something like that. She's kind of stuck there. She doesn't have any money to get back to the United States. And I'm not doing it justice, but go check out Stars at Noon. And she's amazing in it. My number 5, Dolly DeLeon as Abigail in Triangle of Sadness. This is the housekeeper character that comes in the second half of the movie. I thought she was amazing in that movie. Definitely a supporting role. Although I guess there's no main character from that movie. But anyway, she was great in it and unexpected, even as the movie played. My number 4, The Donkey and EO. I don't know how this animal didn't get a nomination this year, but number 3, Brendan Fraser, The Whale. The cast of The Whale is the reason to watch it. The movie's fine, but they almost outshine the movie. They definitely outshine the movie for sure. Number 2, Viola Davis from The Woman King, who got snubbed at the Oscars. We'll talk about it next week, but she was amazing in that movie. And my number 1, Ki Hu Kwan from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I loved Michelle Yeoh in that movie, but I kind of know Michelle Yeoh can do just about anything on screen. Seeing Ki Hu Kwan not only come back, but play like 3 or 4 characters and range from like doofy, doting husband to like movie star to action star. Like if you were to write a comeback for a kid actor who hasn't been on screen in 20, almost 30 years, it's basically like an audition reel. It's like, hey, I can do all these things. You didn't know I could do them. Here I am doing them all in one movie. And I loved it overall. And that's why he's my number 1. How about you, Zach?
Okay, James, we actually have similar lists, I think.
Weird. You
Uh,
like the creepy
my-
kid from The Innocents too?
Yeah. My number 10 is Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right.
I thought she was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny. The fact that she popped up in the movie, I thought was a lot of fun. My number 9 is Jenny Slate from Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. She totally made that movie, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, Theo Rossi from Emily the Criminal. That's the guy that taught her how to be a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought he was played with a lot of nuance, and I like that a lot. Number 7 is Austin Butler as Elvis in Elvis.
Yeah.
I mean, those are big shoes to fill, and I thought that he did an awesome job.
Another example
6,
of like he's better than the movie, in my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Number 6, Kate Blanchett in Tar. Number 5, Janelle Monáe in The Glass Onion. Number 4, Viola Davis in The Woman King. Number 3, Thuso Mbedu in The Woman King. That was the girl in it. I thought she was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And number 1, Ki Kwan in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Nice.
I thought he did a fantastic job with a lot of range, coming out of nowhere. It was great.
Is he the
And
only?
did you see his speech at, was it the Golden Globes?
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I've been like binge watching Ki Kwan speeches, award ceremonies. They're all great.
Is he the only one that made all 3 of our lists?
Viola Davis, I think.
Nope. I didn't have her.
Oh, okay.
I had Lashana Lynch. And then you didn't have Tar, did you, Kate Blanchett, on yours,
No,
James?
I did.
Yeah. So I think what about Michelle? No, you didn't have Michelle Yeoh in yours either. So
No. Yeah,
All right.
All right.
Ki Kwan.
nice job. Short round.
Best performance.
for sure. Our next list is our top 5 favorite scenes from a film released in 2022. Kyle, hit us.
What do you got?
Sure. So my number 5 is Babylon. It was hard. This is a movie where it's pretty much in the middle of my rankings, but it had some great scenes in it. And I went with the opening party. It's like a 30-minute long drug-fueled party. It's crazy, but that movie, that scene got me on board for the movie, and then didn't give me that movie for the rest of it. So, or maybe gave me too much of that movie. I'm not sure which it gave me, but
Sure.
I love that scene. I thought it was great. Number 4 from The Northman, there's the village raid. It's a oneer, and it's kind of like a dolly tracking shot on the side. It's almost like a side scroller as Skarsgård is attacking this village. It's a great scene. Number 3 from RRR, I have this in my notes as the chicken fight gun escape. Do you know what I'm talking about, James?
I mean, roughly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes in RRR.
It's hard to set this one up, but at one point in the movie, towards the end, one character needs to rescue another character, and the character being rescued, his legs don't work or they're injured or something. So the rescuing character carries him on his shoulders as they escape prison, while the one being carried on the shoulders is dual wielding guns, shooting British soldiers left and right. It's insane, but it's so much fun. My number 2 from Resurrection, Rebecca Hall gives this 8-minute long monologue, unbroken, where she is telling this character and the audience this past trauma and abuse she has experienced. And the camera's just slowly pushing in on her face for 8 minutes. It's in a riveting moment. And it's so simple, but the fact that she could, as an actress, keep that tension and keep that focus the whole time is something else. There's no trickery. It's just her talking for 8 minutes about a really hard thing too. And then number 1, my favorite scene of the year is the captain's dinner from Triangle of Sadness. I mean, you've got rich people losing on both ends. There's like a death metal soundtrack playing. It's incredible.
That's also interestingly shot too, because like they're in the middle of a storm, and so the boat is rocking at the same time. I mean, just like the logistics of shooting it itself is interesting.
And like there's little moments where people are handing out like ginger and saying, "Oh, eat more food, that'll make you feel better." And it's just, the whole thing is great. It's my favorite scene of the year.
My favorite.
Zach, what you got? Oh, good, James.
We'll keep the pattern. My favorite scene from my favorite scenes from 2022 start with my number 5, the one-legged dance number in RRR, where they're like dancing against each other. And I was on board for the movie before that happened, but when that happened, I was like, all right, I'm in. I don't care what comes after this. I'm going to keep watching because it could be more of this type of stuff. And so loved it. My number 4, the scene where Gordy attacks the cast in Nope. Was unexpected and cool. And one of the few things I remember about that movie is that scene and the shoe of it all and all that kind of stuff. It was good. My number 3, the David Lynch as cigar chomping John Ford scene in The Fabelmans was amazing. And my number 2, previously mentioned, the captain's dinner in Triangle of Sadness was awesome for sure. And my favorite scene of 2022, the rocks in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, that movie was full of WTF moments, and that was maybe the weirdest, but also weirdly poignant. And I loved every minute of it.
I think I couldn't choose a scene from that movie because it would have been like my number 5 through 1 or all that. So they all kind of cancel each other out.
There's so many scenes in that movie.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, the rocks is a great moment.
Cool. Okay, my number 5 was Tom Cruise doing the test run.
Yeah.
For that his students kept failing and that they were gonna shut down the program or whatever, and then he proved that it could be done. I like that scene. Number 4 is the first time we see the hot dog fingers in Everywhere All at Once.
Sure.
It just came out of nowhere and it kept coming back. Number 3 is Tar when she's teaching at Juilliard. It's that long oneer shot where she's teaching and talking about like the Me Too movement and things like that. Number 2, it's from Nope. It's when he's exploring the stables in the middle of the night and then some aliens like pop out their heads from the different stables and start like walking towards him.
That was creepy.
Because, yeah, super creepy. And my audience was like going nuts during that scene and it was really fun. And number 1, it's kind of the same scene you guys are talking about for Triangle of Sadness, but specifically the worldview battle that the captain was having with that other guy over the intercom.
Yeah.
Where they're like quoting capitalist versus communist like literature. I really enjoyed that they were doing that. And so that's my favorite scene of 2022.
I mean, that's all mixed
just,
in
like,
with the same sequence.
Right. It's all
It
part
is,
of the
for
same
sure.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how there's like Googling at one point and they're reciting like the first thing that comes up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. From the best scenes to the worst movies. These are our top 5 worst movies that we saw that were released in 2022. Kyle, hit us with a list.
Yeah. So my number 5 is Jurassic World: Dominion. This movie was stupid. At least I got to see the original cast a little bit, but even I don't know. I forgot about this movie already. My number 4 is actually a movie we have not discussed on this podcast. It's Raymond and Ray. And this was a movie starring Ethan Hawke, who's going to be a theme later in this episode, and Ewan McGregor. And they play half brothers whose father passed away and they're trying to bury him and deal with their past. And it's Ewan McGregor. I don't know what he was doing in this movie, but like it was some of the worst acting I've seen from him. So, and it couldn't find its tone. So I didn't really care for it. Number 3 was Confess Fletch, the John Hamm movie. What was going on? It was just a bunch of like SNL characters being paraded through that movie.
Kyle did not like that movie.
Did not
He was
care for
not
that.
vibing with
He
Fletch.
Nope.
Nope.
Number 2, Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Not vibing with that movie. It was a weird tone. And my least favorite movie of 2022 was Spin Me Round, the Alison Brie kind of rom-com, kind of travelogue, kind of thriller, bad at everything. It really is the Olive Garden of movies.
Well, there's 2 on Kyle's list that I don't agree with, but it's fine.
Nice.
I hated
Nice.
Spin Me Round. I was so mad we watched that.
Nice.
All right. The worst movies I watched last year start with Ambulance in my number 5, which is a Michael Bay movie, which just, I mean, it's Michael Bay, so you should expect this, but it's still nauseating with all the spinning cameras and stuff like that.
Was that the one shot all on drone?
It's not all drone, but there's definitely a lot of drone shots in it for sure. Yeah, but tons of spinning camera work, although I did enjoy Jake Gyllenhaal's kind of unhinged performance in it, but it was not enough to save the whole movie for sure. My number 4, The King's Daughter, which is a fantasy film starring Pierce Brosnan that was supposed to be released in 2015, and they kept postponing it because they couldn't find a release date where they thought they could like maximize the return on it, and then the pandemic happened, and then they finally released it in 2022, and it was brutal. So I understand why they were trying to strategically counter program it somewhere in the schedule just to get their money back, because this is like a big budget fantasy movie with Pierce Brosnan in the middle of it. My number 3, The Eternal Daughter, surprisingly a movie starring Tilda Swinton, was my 3rd least favorite movie of the year. This one directed by Joanna Hogg, who did The Souvenir in 2019, which is a movie I really liked, and The Eternal Daughter bored me to tears. It was just, I wouldn't say the worst put together movie. It just was not made for me. I was like, I don't know what this is. It's so boring. My number 2, Pinocchio, not the GDT one, the Disney one with Tom Hanks. Just brutal. My number 1 worst movie that I saw last year, Terror on the Prairie, which is a movie produced by the Daily Wire. I forget the guy's name. Ben Shapiro's company. It stars Gina Carano. It's a Western. It was hyper violent and pointless. And I was just like, I don't understand what this is.
Why is the Daily Wire making a Western?
I don't know. I think they're trying to, I don't know, bring back masculine Western values. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I did not know that until I did not know that until I hit play. And then I was like, produced by the Daily Wire. Okay, what is this? And then the movie played out and I was like, okay, I understand why you have to be funded by the Daily Wire to make this.
Nice.
That's a far-right news source, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And Gina Carano famously canceled for far-right ideals.
Yeah, burn the Star Wars bridge, like,
for sure. She had a nice little money train going there, and they were gonna spin off her character into its own series.
Yeah, she had it set, and then whatever.
Yeah.
Well, my list has touches of both of your lists.
Okay.
Number 5, Babylon. It was a mess. That movie.
I understand. I totally understand.
Such a mess. Number 4, Vengeance.
Oh yeah.
That movie was weird.
The
BJ
podcasting
Novak
movie.
Yeah. Number 3, Spin Me Round. I that movie is it's hard to explain how crazy that movie is. It's really like bonkers material when you actually sit down and think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, a truly awful, disappointing movie, Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers.
That's a bingo.
You also had it at your number 2.
I did it at my number 2. Yep.
And my number 1, I don't think I've talked about it on the show, 2,000 Mules. Have you guys ever heard of this documentary?
No, but it's also a far-right thing, isn't it?
Dinesh D'Souza movie or something?
Yeah.
Why did you watch them? What's with you guys in the far right?
It's a documentary about how the election was stolen in 2020. And it literally is the most nonsensical documentary. Like, they'll show video of people standing next to a ballot box, and then they'll say all sorts of things about it. And it's just like, none of that happened in the video. It's really a silly, silly documentary.
Just to clarify, the election was not stolen. So it's not a documentary about how it was stolen.
Not according to 2,000 Mules.
So it's a fictional movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of speculation in 2,000 Mules. I'll give you that.
I'm kind of tempted to watch. Is it worth a watch just to have watched it, or is it so bad it's not even worth that?
Well, no, it's just like, okay, so if I tell you A and B,
mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting that possibly that means
C?
L?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And like, here, I'm going to throw another one at you. Orange. Doesn't that make you think of animals? I mean, it's just like ridiculous.
All right.
But it's fine. It's watchable.
Fair enough.
It's fine. It's your least favorite movie of the year, and it's fine.
So we obviously watched a bunch of movies from 2022, but we also watched a bunch of non-2022 movies for the first time in 2022. So this is a top 10 list of non-2022 movies watched for the first time in 2022.
That's a lot of twos.
It's a lot of twos.
Yeah. All right. My number 10 is Before the Devil Knows You're Dead from 2007. This is a Philip Seymour Hoffman and Ethan Hawke movie theme. It's directed by Sidney Lumet. It's a neo-noir thriller crime movie that I really enjoyed. Number 9 is Body Heat. This is another neo-noir from 1981, starring Kathleen Turner and William Hurt, and it's sort of a 80s take on Double Indemnity. James, if you like the plot of Double Indemnity but didn't care for like the 1940s rat-a-tat talk, I think Body Heat you could watch.
Okay.
Number 8 is a documentary, Paris is Burning from 1990, the one you guys had me watch. I think the highest rated movie you guys had watched I had not seen, about the Vogue scene in New York City in the 80s and 90s, and I really enjoyed that one.
Nice.
Number 7, Paprika. This is an anime film from the same director who did Perfect Blue from 2006, and it's kind of a trippy movie. People claim that Christopher Nolan ripped off this movie for Inception, which is not quite true, but it is about dreams and people entering other people's dreams and fighting.
I'm surprised you liked Paprika so much because you hated Perfect Blue.
So I may need a rewatch of Perfect Blue because I think I latched onto one moment, and then 20 years later rating it was based on that one moment. So
I know what scene you're probably talking
yeah,
about.
exactly. So I may need to see it as a whole, but in my mind, Perfect Blue is like that one scene is the whole movie. So
okay.
Yeah. Number 6, Shiva Baby, the Rachel Sennett movie where she's playing I don't even know what's the girl called in a sugar daddy relationship?
She's playing a college student.
A college student
goes
right.
to a wake and meets her
sugar
stumbles
daddy.
upon her sugar daddy. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Very funny, very cringe. Really enjoyed that movie. Number 5, Predestination, another Ethan Hawke movie. This is a mind bender of a time travel movie is the best way to put it. I can't even really talk about what this movie is without giving everything away. So
yeah, Zach, have you seen Predestination?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
2014.
That's a movie you would like if you hadn't seen it. So
It's a movie where like the first 45 minutes, you're like, what is going on? And then if you stick with it, it really pays off. Yeah.
That's tricky though, to wait 45 minutes because some people turn movies off after 45 minutes.
Yeah, thankfully it's 45 minutes of good acting.
Sure.
And, Ethan Hawke, so. Number 4, Ace in the Hole from 1951, Billy Wilder movie starring Kirk Douglas. He's a newspaper writer who happens upon a tragedy and massages the situation to keep writing stories about it. If you like Nightcrawler, this is sort of a proto Nightcrawler in the same vein. Number 3, United 93 from 2006, Paul Greengrass movie about September 11th. Really a movie I avoided for a long time because I wasn't really excited to jump back into that era of life and history, but really well done, really emotional movie, and kind of filled in some gaps about other things that are happening that day that I never was really quite aware of.
The only good 9/11 movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think I'm good. I've seen one 9/11 movie. That's enough. I can.
Doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. I mean, there's Loose Change. That's pretty great. So
that's a documentary. It doesn't count.
Oh, true. Not a movie. You're right. My number 2, another documentary. This one's called The Tammy Show. Tammy stands for Teenage Music International. And this is a music documentary about a 2-day festival in, I think it was like Monterey, California. And it's this mashup of both black artists and white artists playing together. So you have Rolling Stones and Beach Boys playing together with Chuck Berry and James Brown. And it's incredible concert footage. It's shot on was considered early high def footage for the 60s. So it's on YouTube. It looks great on YouTube. Movie you can totally just put on while you're working, James, and just have it in the background. Like you can just check in when you want to. Zach, I know it's a little more challenging for you, so get to it. But if you don't watch the whole movie, at least watch the James Brown portion. It's 18 minutes long, and it is the best live performance you're ever going to see, hands down.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
It is James
praise.
Brown like at his peak. It's incredible. And then the poor Rolling Stones had to go on after him. So, and then my number one favorite movie of 2022, that's not a 2022 movie, is Rafifi from 1955. This is a French crime movie, and it's just done so well. Both the actual heist itself and all the setup around it. I really enjoyed this movie.
awesome.
Very cool.
I've seen that movie too. The rare,
You have?
It's a heist movie. I think that's why I watched it. But
Probably, yeah.
it's a good one. My list starts with Strictly Ballroom from 1992. It's the Baz Luhrmann's one of his first movies. I caught up with his entire feature-length filmography this year, and that was one of them, and I enjoyed it. My number 9, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead
Oh,
from 1990.
That's a fun one.
I don't remember why I watched this, but I did, and I enjoyed it. It's a comedy based on Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. My number 8, 5/25/77, which is the year or the date that Star Wars was released. This is like a nostalgia comedy, I guess, about this guy. It's a true life story about this kid who is way into sci-fi movies. He's way into Planet of the Apes in 2001, stuff like that. And he hears about this movie called Star Wars that's coming out, and he's really into it, and nobody around him cares. And he's into like making movies with his friends and trying to, bootstrap kind of stuff with his high school buddies. And he decides that he is going to see Star Wars before everybody else. And so he hunts down George Lucas to try to get that accomplished. And this movie was long rumored. Like I remember, man, in the mid 2000s, in the mid aughts, like a trailer for this dropping, and it took forever for it to come out. Like 15, 18 years, something like that, from the first trailer to release. And it was released in 2017, which is why it's on this list, but wasn't widely available until this year. So I finally caught up with it, and it was great if you're into Star Wars nostalgia. Tell No One is my number 7 from 2006. Don't remember what this movie's about. In Order of Disappearance from 2014. Don't really remember what that's about.
but it's a favorite.
It's a favorite. A Dark Song from 2016. Don't remember what this movie's about.
Wow.
Is this top 10 movies you forgot you watched in 2022?
For sure.
Okay.
What Happened to Monday is a movie I remember for sure. This is like a dystopian, like sci-fi movie. It was originally released on Netflix back in 2017, and I don't know why I didn't really hear about it at the time, because I enjoyed it quite a bit. It stars Noomi Rapace and Willem Dafoe. It's a fun sci-fi action movie that I think is underseen. Some Kind of Heaven from 2020 I enjoyed. It's a good comedy. And from 1930, All Quiet on the Western Front. I caught up with this because of the new one that came out. Probably the oldest movie that's ever made a top 10 list for me. Maybe not. I mean, Wizard of Oz, stuff like that. But I like this a lot. And amazing that it kind of held up, even though it's like 92 years younger than the new one.
Older,
sorry. And my favorite non-2022 movie that I watched last year is easily Old Henry, which is a Western. I'm forgetting the name of the guy at the center of it. This is worth looking up Here we go. Old Henry stars Tim Blake Nelson
Yeah.
as Old Henry. He's this guy that lives in a cabin out in the prairie. And somebody shows up who needs some help. And Old Henry is kind of like a loner who doesn't like being involved with other people in general. He doesn't like people in general. So he likes living out in the prairie alone and doing his, prairie stuff. Somebody shows up who needs some help, and he reluctantly helps this person. That brings a lot of trouble to his door. And it turns out Old Henry doesn't like people for a very good reason. And that's all I'll say. If you like Westerns and you never heard of this one, you should definitely dip into it. My favorite non-2022 movie I saw last year.
Nice. All right. My top 10 favorite non-2022 movies that I watched for the first time in 2022. My number 10, John and the Hole. This was about a guy who just drugged his family and put him at the bottom of a deep hole that they couldn't escape. And they have to figure out what to do. I just found this movie to be enigmatic and very interesting. James, you watched it, right?
It vaguely rings a bell, but maybe
you gotta check it out if you haven't. I think you'll enjoy it for the same reasons I did.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 9, Free Guy. It's the Ryan Reynolds movie where he's in a video game. I thought this movie was a lot of fun. Number 8, The Lost Daughter. It's about a mom who goes overseas and then she kind of befriends this woman who has a daughter, and it's a character study of how different people deal with motherhood, I guess. Number 7, Nightmare Alley. It's kind of like a old-timey circus movie.
Sure. Carney movie.
Yeah. Number 6 is Walkabout. This is, I think, an Australian film about 2 kids, a teenage daughter and her elementary age brother are driven out into the middle of Australia by their dad, who plans on murdering them and then killing himself. But for whatever reason, he kills himself and doesn't kill them. And so they're basically stuck in the outback, and they have to get home, and they befriend a native Aborigine boy who's on a walkabout, and he helps them get back to civilization. And yeah, the whole movie's about clash of cultures and like who's really content and what society is superior and in what ways. It's very interesting. I liked it a lot. Number 5 is The Sunset Limited. This was actually a listener suggestion. It is a bottle movie with Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel Jackson talking to each other in a room. That's the whole movie takes place in this one room, and they have a conversation that's like about philosophy and religion and stuff like that. And I thought it was so well acted, so well scripted. I enjoyed it a ton. Number 4 is The Worst Person in the World. This was a 2021 movie that I was just catching up on that I thought was very interesting. Number 3 was The Rescue. That was the movie of the cave divers that saved those Indonesian boys who were trapped in a underwater cave. Number 2, The Tragedy of Macbeth. That was a black and white retelling of the story of Macbeth. So good. And number 1 was Licorice Pizza.
Nice. Oh, good choice. Great movie.
Awesome. So we watched a lot of great non-2022 movies in 2022. Well, we also watched a couple bad ones. So we got a short list of our top 5 worst non-2022 movies watched for the first time in 2022. Kyle?
Yeah. So 3 of these 5 movies are podcast related. I watched them because of the podcast or some way, shape, or form. I think I just have like a lot of very high selection, so I don't watch a lot of movies I think will be bad. So that's why my list may be a little redundant, but we'll go through it here. My number 5 is not a bad movie, but it's just it is my fifth least favorite movie that I watched of the year that's not from 2022, and that is THX 1138, the George Lucas movie.
Mm.
And the reason I put this at number 5 is because when I finished watching the movie, I was blown away by like some of the effects and shots that Lucas had achieved in this low budget student film he made pre Star Wars. You're like, wow, you could really see like the DNA of Star Wars all over this movie. And then I read about it, and it turns out that the only version you can get is the 2004 special edition version he did, where he expanded like the depth of field and added CG elements and made his car chases more dramatic. And I realized, I don't think I feel like I was gaslit by George Lucas on this movie. Like I didn't get the actual THX 1138 movie. I got the special edition. Let's add some cool things into it. So I think based on that, I can't say this was a good movie because I don't even know what I watched anymore. That's my number 5. My number 4, The 9 Lives of Christmas. This is the Hallmark Christmas movie that I chose for our Christmas list. It was fine. Number 3, Hamlet, starring Ethan Hawke. This is from late 90s, maybe 2000, kind of in the vein of when all these people were redoing Hamlet in modern era after like Baz Luhrmann got popular with Romeo and Juliet. And I just found this one to be people doing Hamlet in sort of low budget apartments. There was a lot to it. Bill Murray's in it. I think he plays like Polonius, and everyone was saying how great he was. And I just thought Bill Murray is ridiculous doing Hamlet. It's just not, he doesn't work for me. So didn't care for this one. It was a slog. Number 2, I'll Be Home for Christmas, the Jonathan Taylor Thomas Christmas movie we watched. That was something. And then my least favorite non-2022 movie that I watched this year was The Predator. That's the 2018 Shane Black Predator movie. It's silly.
Oh,
it's
come
dumb.
on. That's the worst movie you watched last year?
That's the worst movie I watched last year. I did not care for
Gosh.
that movie whatsoever.
Disagree.
Crazy.
That's
Crazy.
totally fine. Again, I don't watch a ton of.
I mean,
I
it's
got
not
a
my
high
favorite
selection
Predator
here,
movie
so-
either, but that's a totally watchable movie.
You think you could take on the Predator? That's what this is.
I will use his weight against him.
Well, my list starts at number 5 from 1994, The Scout, which is a comedy starring Brendan Fraser and Albert Brooks. It's a baseball movie that could have used a lot more Brendan Fraser and a lot less Albert Brooks. It's definitely like, I don't think I've ever seen a movie where Albert Brooks is like the main character. And I don't think I need to after this
I like
one.
Albert Brooks.
It was brutal. It might have just been the 90s version of Albert Brooks or something, but I was just like, don't find this guy charming. Don't find him interesting. Why am I watching him? It was tough to get through. My number 4 from 1999, Rogue Trader, which stars Ewan McGregor, who is doing he like works on Wall Street in Singapore, like the Wall Street version of in Singapore's Wall Street. And he's like kind of revolutionizing how that works in Singapore. And then it's based on a true story about a guy who like does it wrong and gets in trouble with the law. And I didn't like it. I was pretty bored by it. My number 3, Survive from 2022. This stars Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones fame. And this is that movie that when Quibi shut down, somebody took the movie that was in theory shot in like 10-minute segments or however long Quibi videos were, and also shot to be vertical and horizontal like Quibi needed to be. And they tried to piece together a movie from like 12 sequences, and it was awful.
It did not work.
It was brutal. My number 3. My number 2, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk from 2016. I got this on 4K. It was cheap. I watched it. It's an Ang Lee movie, and I don't understand why. I mean, this was so bad in general, I would say. I think it's supposed to be patriotic, but I was kind of gobsmacked at how pretty awful it was. Also, it was presented in 3D in extra high frame rate upon theater release, 120 frames per second in 3D. Billy Lynn's long halftime walk. I don't know why you would do that on this movie of all.
Did he
movies,
make
but
Gemini Man after that movie? Or Gemini, whatever it's called?
I think that was after. Yeah.
So maybe that was like his, I don't know, his dry run on that frame rate before going to Gemini Man.
I don't know. I don't get it, but I watched it. I own it. I got to get rid of it at some point. My number one, Yoga Hosers from 2016. Hadn't seen this. One of the few Kevin Smith movies I hadn't seen because I heard it was awful. It is awful. It's like the only movie of his that I think squarely feels direct to video. Like I recognize his humor in it, but the production is as low budge as it gets, and not in a good way. With like really bad green screen effects and stuff like that. Easily the worst movie I watched last year.
Nice. Okay, my top 5 worst non-2020 whatever movies from the is these aren't movies necessarily that I don't even really like. I don't know. They're just my least favorite.
Sure.
Okay. But a controversial list.
All right.
5, Drive My Car.
Yeah.
I don't care about this movie at all.
I have not thought about that movie since I saw it. Totally got you.
Yeah. Number 4, Pig. There wasn't enough pig in that movie. It was very little pig.
Ridiculous.
It was too much Nicolas Cage. Not enough pig.
I disagree, but okay.
Oh, you thought there was the right amount of pig?
No, I disagree that it's that the lack of pig is the reason why it's a bad movie. I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I think your reasoning is ridiculous.
If it had more pig and less Nicolas Cage, I would have liked it better. Number 3, Encanto.
Oh, Zach.
What?
Why do you hate children?
I don't hate children.
Why do you hate Lin-Manuel Miranda?
I don't. I'm a fan.
Why do you hate the Hispanic community?
Yeah.
I definitely don't. This movie I felt bored by as I was watching it. I found it confusing. Too many characters. I don't know. It's got one good song. Number 2, Belfast.
What? How can you hate Belfast?
I didn't hate it. This is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I didn't
dislike.
I only hated
dislike.
I only hated one movie on this list.
Okay.
That's my number 1. Number 1, by Terrence Malick, Voyage of Time, an IMAX documentary.
Oh, the dinosaur.
This is just such a complete waste of time. This is the worst. I hated this. All the other ones I just, whatever.
Right.
But didn't like this one.
Why did you watch it? That's the question.
It's Terrence Malick.
Okay. You'll watch anything Terrence Malick? That's not true.
I like Terrence Malick.
I mean, you liked the 10-minute segment of Tree of Life, right?
For sure.
So
yes.
You're like, great, this is going to be an hour and a half of it. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and some things went wrong.
All right. Well, those are the lists that we all knew we were going to do. We do it every year for Hangover episodes. We all made the same list, but we also bring our own lists to the Hangover episodes. These are our random / surprise alternative 2022 lists. These could literally be anything related to 2022, maybe film related, maybe not. And we haven't told each other what lists we made. We haven't told each other how many we made. We're just going to run through some lists right now. For the record, I only made 1. How many did you guys make?
I made 2.
Kyle made 2.
I have 1.
Zach has 1. Why don't we let Kyle go first, and then he can go last with his second list.
Perfect. Okay. So my first random list is just the favorite 2022 movie that I watched from each month of this year.
Oh, okay.
It's just I thought it was interesting to see, like, kind of what was the progression of movies throughout the year.
Like a tour of the year.
Exactly.
Sure.
Immediately, this list fails because I did not see a single 2022 movie in January of 2022. So, My January pick is going to be The Last Duel, which is my favorite movie of 2021 that I saw in January of 2022.
Okay.
For February, I saw I Want You Back, which is a rom-com led by Jenny Slate and Charlie Day, who are not people you'd expect to lead a rom-com. It's funny. And if you want to see them have a leading role in that kind of movie, it's worth checking out. I think it's on Amazon or something like that. So, or maybe Apple. It's one of the streamers. It was good. It was funny. I liked it. March, my favorite movie that I saw from that year is the listener favorite, The Batman. April, favorite movie from that month is the listener favorite number 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once. May, favorite movie was Apollo 10.5, the Richard Linklater rotoscope movie I've talked a lot about this year. Definitely think you guys should check it out. In June, the only time this movie's probably going to get mentioned ever again on this podcast, Lightyear was my favorite movie that I saw in June of 2022 from that year. In July, Nope.
All right.
August was Prey.
Mm-hmm.
September, Emily the Criminal. October, Bullet Train. November, Tar. And in December, my favorite movie that I saw from that of the 2022 is Banshees of Inisherin.
Nice.
So a little tour of the year. Bring you guys back.
The only one I hadn't heard of was the Jenny Slate Charlie Day one, which I added to my watch list.
Yeah, I think you will not hate it.
I'm going to do it. My list for this year is a carryover from last year. I think I'm going to do this every year because I love this list. I love it. Maybe my favorite part of doing these episodes. These are the top 10 YouTube videos of 2022.
I can't wait, James.
And these are not necessarily videos that came out in 2022, but there's certainly videos that I came across in 2022. Although a good deal of them actually did come out in 2022. So my 10th favorite YouTube video of 2022 is How Florida Got So Weird from Wendover Productions. It's like a 20-minute mini doc that talks all about, it's less about the people of Florida and more like the chemistry, the makeup of Florida, and like how Florida operates from a governmental perspective versus like the people that live here. And it's awesome, especially if you're a Floridian or you're curious about Floridians. It might explain some things. My number 9 is I Drove to Every Rainforest Cafe in North America from Ted Nivision, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Like a guy figured out where all the Rainforest Cafe locations were and then drove to each one and ate at each one. And it was pretty funny. I liked it, especially since Rainforest Cafes famously the same no matter where you go.
Right.
So like, yeah, LA, Utah, New York, it's going to be themed exactly the same. So.
It's just a matter of which animatronic is broken down.
Right.
I have a Rainforest Cafe story.
Okay. Is it a long one?
No, it's no.
Is it a good one?
Probably not. No. Okay, move on.
All right. My number 8 is Howie Mandel on the H3 podcast, number 259 from the H3 podcast. If you don't know, then it's fine. We won't get into it. If you know, you know. Probably my favorite podcast episode of the year, period. My number 7, caught in 4K unboxing a Criterion Blu-ray eBay lot from Blu-ray Bandit. Love that guy. Love his videos.
He's good.
My number 6, You Can't Handle the Truth, but it's the Toy Story song from the channel There I Ruined It. If you haven't heard this YouTube video, you have to listen to it. It's not safe for work, so just be careful with the little ears around you. But it's literally that. It's You Can't Handle the Truth from A Few Good Men. It's like that scene, but sung in Randy Newman style somehow. It's amazing. My number 5, this is a feature-length documentary titled Disney Channel's Theme, A History Mystery from Defunctland. It's literally like an hour and a half of a guy trying to figure out who wrote like the little 4-note sequence from the Disney Channel. And so it's an amazing piece of investigative journalism that absolutely does not matter in the big picture. But super interesting to see him go through the process of trying to track a composer down who, like, a lot of people have that theme, that little ding 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 ding, like burned into their memory, and yet they don't know who actually wrote that. So it's a good one. Check it out. My number 4, the CEO of Korn from Recess Therapy. Have you guys seen this video? This is like a little kid just talking about Korn.
Oh,
Like,
this is I Like Corn Kid?
It's the I Like Corn Kid.
Yeah. Okay.
I love this video. I kept coming across it over the course of the year. Every time it pops up in my feed in whatever shape or form it's in, I have to watch it because it just gives me the good feeling that, like, it's like the innocence of youth, just being so excited about something that so mundane. Like, we eat more corn every day than we can even imagine, through other foods and stuff like that. And yet this kid is just like, first of all, he loves corn. Secondly, he can describe in like 50 different ways why he likes corn and be hilarious while doing it. My number 4. My number 3 is Zach watched this video because I sent it to him. Stop Grabbing Me, San Jose Parole, First Amendment from Bay Area Transparency. It's like 45 minutes of this guy who's a First Amendment auditor, who are these people who film in public and, try to get reactions from people, basically. See if police will violate their rights by making them stop filming. Anyway, this guy in San Jose goes to a parole office, films outside in the parking lot, and one of the parole officers comes out and challenges him, and they get into like an altercation. It's like 45 minutes of some of the most intense real-time footage on the internet. I love it. And probably my favorite action sequence of the year.
Jeez.
Number 2, watch the uncensored moment Will Smith smacks Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars and drops the F-bomb from Guardian News. This was the uncensored clip. Remember, we were watching the Oscars and we were like, what happened? Because they were muting everything that was going on. And first of all, we didn't live. It was like hard to process. Like, Will Smith actually slapped him. That wasn't set up. You know what I mean? There's a lot of confusion. And then an hour or so later, somebody took the international feed and dropped it online, uncensored. And that's one of the best YouTube videos of this year for sure. And my favorite YouTube video of the year is easily Walleye Cheaters. Busted. We got weights.
Oh yeah.
We got
That's
weights,
great.
weights and fish. This is the fishermen who got caught cheating. They were putting weight in their fish, which are weighed, and that determines the winner of a fishing tournament. And somebody caught on camera them getting caught by putting weights in fish. And so it's like these two guys who evidently have been cheating for a while and nobody had been able to catch them. And so there was already a little bit of animosity towards these guys. And when they were caught red-handed in front of a group of other fishermen, these are like professional fishermen, those fishermen were very upset and yet surprisingly reserved. Like, it's kind of shocking that a fist fight doesn't break out in that moment. I mean, it's on the edge, but just that the guy running the tournament screaming, "We got weights and fish," I will never forget that for the rest of my life. And anytime I hear about any kind of cheating scandal or anything like that since then, immediately the soundbite, "We got weights and fish," drops into my head. It's awesome. I will put this list in the show notes with all the links if you want to catch up on my favorite YouTube videos of 2022.
Awesome.
I love it, James. Love it.
Okay, my list is James's top 10 YouTube videos ranked. It's where I rank James's top. No. Mine is actually, let me send you guys a link over our Discord server.
Okay.
This is my 10 favorite movie posters of 2022.
Okay.
Ooh.
You'll have to give
And
me
I
this
will
link for the show notes.
Yeah, for
too.
sure. I will say, I think this was a bad year for movie posters.
Okay.
I did not find many movie posters that I got very excited about. For whatever reason. Okay. But these are ones that stood out to me. Godland is the movie poster just instantly makes me wonder what the movie is and makes me very interested in watching it. It's just a very cool photo that makes me want to know more, which is what a movie poster should do. The Novelist's film, I just think graphically looks really interesting and different, and I like it. It's black and white. It's got some stairs. It's cool. 365 Days This Day. I don't know anything about this movie, but this movie poster just has two people, but they're at like a angle, and it kind of feels like fluid, like they're liquid in a suspended in a medium. I don't know. I liked it. EO is a red cover with just the donkey staring at you, and he just seems friendly and nice, and I like it.
The EO poster looks like an early 90s like Epitaph Records album cover from some punk band.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, Zach or is it more Hellcat Records? What do you think, Zach?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not. Wildcat. Resurrection. This one looks like it's ready for Criterion already.
Absolutely.
Probably my favorite. These are not in any particular order, by the way. Probably my favorite is Fire of Love, just for the like pop of color and the great font. You don't see really good font these days.
The font is awesome on Fire of Love.
Yeah. Fall, just because it perfectly encapsulates the movie. Like you absolutely get a sense of what the movie's about from the poster. It's pretty minimalist. The Woman King, just pretty. That poster goes hard. Decision to Leave. I just kind of like that style. I don't know how you describe that style, but I like it.
It's kind of Dali-esque almost.
Yeah, I wouldn't describe it as that, but yeah, that's better than I did.
Okay.
And then Tar. It's a cool title. It's a cool poster. It's from a extreme low angle that you just don't see ever. And it kind of goes with the plot of the movie. I like it.
Yeah, it's interesting that like one hand's in the top right corner and one hand's in the bottom left. Like it spans the entire poster.
Exactly. Yeah. So those were my 10 favorite posters of 2022. Are there any that I missed that you guys know offhand?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about this, but I will say that Godland is the highest ranked movie of all those. And 365 Days This Day is really lowly ranked.
Oh, is it?
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at lots of half-star rankings.
Oh, that's maybe the lowest ranked movie I've seen on Letterboxd.
Really?
Right? It's average rating, it's 0.9.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
It's on Netflix, James. Check it out.
I will. I added it. Kyle, you had another list for us?
I do. So I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that I rewatched 55 movies this year, and 16 of those movies were from my top 100.
Okay.
So I watched 16 top 100 movies today. I'm going to go quickly run down the top 10 of the 16 of my top 100 that I watched.
All right.
And a little context about why I watch them. You guys can jump in if you want to.
Sure.
Can I ask a question before you go?
Yeah.
Is their order different than they appear in your top 100?
No, this is the order as they appear in top 100.
Okay, so you haven't like reevaluated these?
No.
Upon rewatch. Okay.
No, I was actually thinking about that today. I have not reevaluated my top 100 or top 500 recently. That might be a project I need to do sometime this winter before. Yeah, but this is as it stands as of, I think last time I did this was like October 2020 or something like that. All right. Number 10, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I feel like I watched this for the podcast. I don't know if we did a list that this popped into.
Could be. Maybe live action animation combination list.
Maybe like for Chippendales or something like that. So, I don't know, top 10 movies that Chippendales is trying to be. Maybe that was it. Yeah. Number 9, Blade Runner. Got this finally on 4K. Looked awesome in 4K.
Nice.
Number 8, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Had this on Blu-ray. Needed a laugh one night. Popped it in. I remember in middle school, me and some of my friends would like memorize this movie and do them as skits. I didn't realize that we memorized this entire movie from cover to cover. So I was watching this movie and just reciting the entire thing. I'm glad no one's in the room with me because they would have just been rolling their eyes.
I
So
saw
was-
that in a movie theater like maybe 3 years ago, like on
Okay.
re-release, and it was an odd mix of people who knew every single word and other people who did not know what was going on because
Yeah.
people were literally like saying it with the movie. and then I think they had dragged other people along who had never seen it. And so it was, I couldn't imagine watching a movie in a movie theater where like half the theater knows every single line from the movie. It was weird.
I imagine watching that movie with me is the same as watching Pootie Tang with Zach and I, where it's not worth your time. You're just gonna get a bad experience.
go watch
We're
it on
having too
your
much
own.
fun. Yeah, exactly. Or a great experience. But watching Pootie Tang with Zach and I could be the best movie experience you get. One of the two. My number 7, Mad Max Fury Road. Finally watched this on 4K. Also looked great, sounded great. Number 6, Clockwork Orange. Got that in 4K for Christmas last year. One of my favorite Kubrick movies. Not a fun movie to watch necessarily all the time, but a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, also on 4K, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Watches with Galen. This was one of his birthday presents was he got to watch an Indiana Jones movie.
Mm.
And he loved it. He had such a great time with it. I think his favorite part was the scene where the swordsman is like challenging Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford just pulls the gun out and shoots him. He thought that was great.
Absolutely. That's maybe my favorite part of the movie too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Number 4, The Dark Knight. Watched that in 4K. Was just feeling like I needed some Christian Bale one night, so popped in The Dark Knight. Number 3.
You skipped Begins and you went right to Dark Knight, huh?
Well, I've seen all 3 of them enough times where I don't need to like complete the trilogy. I can just kind of jump around as I see fit.
Well, I can't do that for some reason. I would have to
Well,
start with the first.
James, if you can't do that, then you're going to hate my number 3, which is The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh my gosh.
So Galen's kind of on the tail end of his wanting to watch Star Wars movies over and over again. He still likes Star Wars and the whole world and the toys and everything, but the actual movies he's less interested in. He has no desire to see like the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, my days of watching Jedi and Empire and New Hope over and over again are maybe dwindling a little bit. And that's okay. I'm glad he got what he wanted out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Saving Private Ryan. Rewatched that. Got that on 4K recently. I think I mentioned this to you, James. I can't remember if I did this on or off podcast, but at the very end, when old Matt Damon turns to his wife and says, like, tell me I've been a good person, I lived a good life, I lost it. Never lost it like at that moment in that movie before.
Wow. How many times have you seen that movie?
But a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was like the first time I had that strong emotional reaction.
It's because you're older, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. I'm starting to re-examine my life now. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's see, what have I done compared to what, they were doing in there.
You just wait. Things are going to wait till you hit your 40s. Things are going to hit you in like a totally different context. And you'll be like, oh, wow. This thing that I've been watching for 20 years has a totally different meaning to me all of a sudden.
Well, that's in 6 months. So, not too worried about that. And then my number 1 top 100 movie I watched, which is actually my number 3 of all time, is Jurassic Park. I saw this in the theater, a double feature. It was Jurassic Park, followed by Jurassic World Dominion. Did not help Jurassic World Dominion whatsoever to watch Jurassic Park first.
Sure.
But seeing Jurassic Park in the theater again, amazing. Perfect movie. Great.
That seems like worst case scenario if you're Jurassic Park Dominion. Why would you show the best Jurassic Park right before you play that piece of garbage?
Yeah, well,
that's pretty harsh.
Whoever was in charge of scheduling really messed that one up.
That's amazing.
Nice.
All right. Those were our random / surprise lists from 2022. Let's talk a little bit. We got one more major list to go through, but before we do that, let's talk a little bit about our movie habits planning. Let's make a plan for next year. A good plan always starts with a little reflection on last year. We make movie resolutions. I guess it doesn't have to be New Year's, but Cinereelists New Year's resolutions. And so we made a couple last year. I made 3 last year. I don't remember how many you guys made, but I made 3.
I made 3.
I made 2.
Nice. And the question is, did we actually stick to those resolutions or not? Kyle, of the 2 that you made, One, what did you resolve to do, and did you do it?
So my first one was I made a resolution to watch 12 movies in the theater in 2022, which is weird because I went back and I saw that I watched 12 movies in the theater in 2021. So it didn't seem like that much of a jump to make.
Sure.
So I'm not sure why I made that resolution exactly, but I exceeded that. I saw 23 movies in the theater in 2022. So almost doubled my goal.
Nice.
Accomplished.
I think I'm back in theaters now. Like you said, James, 2 a month seems to be my jam right now, and I'm gonna stick to that.
Nice.
My other one, and there's been little drips of this throughout the whole podcast, was to watch Ethan Hawke movies, which I ended up watching 7. He was my most watched actor, though they did not count Glass Onion as one of his on Letterboxd.
So technically 8.
Technically 8, yes. The ones that I think we talked about watching that I wanted to see were First Reformed, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, The Northman, Great Expectations, The Black Phone, Tape, Maud, and Hamlet. And of that list, I saw Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, The Northman, Black Phone, and Hamlet. I also watched Reality Bites and Glass Onion and Predestination. So I still need to see First Reformed. Probably those other ones I should get to also.
I mean, if First Reformed is the one that you didn't watch, you saved a good one for last, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't get to that one, but
no, it's fine.
That's all right. So I saw 7, and then Raymond and Ray. That was the other one I watched, which was a turd. That made my bottom 5 of the year. But Ethan Hawke can't win them all.
Sure. Nice. As I mentioned, I had 3 movie resolutions I made last year. The first one was watch more movies in 2022 than I did in 2021. I did that. I had to beat 184, and I beat it by 47. I ended up watching 231.
Nice.
So, the other 2, not so good on, though. I had to watch the remaining Yorgos Lanthimos movies that I had not seen. This was the 3rd year I had this on my movie habit.
What movies are we talking about?
We're talking about My Best Friend, Canetta, and Alps, which I believe are his French language movies, or Greek. It's probably Greek. And did not watch any of those 3, even though I wanted to in this past year. So I failed that one 3 times in a row. 3 strikes, I'm out. And finally, my last resolution that I did not do was watch at least 10 movies on 4K Blu-ray. Didn't quite make 10. I watched 6.
Okay.
So a little more than halfway there, but forgot I made that resolution, to be honest.
Well, James,
Nice.
I completed that resolution for you.
Sure.
And we can include The Predator in that.
All right.
All right. I had 3 resolutions, of which I completed 2 of them.
Nice.
One was watch Paddington 2.
A difficult one to get done.
The reason that was on my list is because that would let me complete the Reddit top 250 movie list. And that was the only movie on the top 250 that I hadn't seen.
Having
So I watched
seen
Paddington
that,
2.
do you still have the 250 watched, or is there a new one that you haven't seen?
Great question. Do you mind if I pull that up right
Sure.
now?
Do
So, Zach, I'll tell you, the 250 is not updated since, I think, 2019.
So yes, I have.
So you should
Okay.
be fine. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened to it, but Reddit, at least the last I checked, they have not done anything with the top 250.
Yep. I've seen all top 250. I only have 6 to go on the IMDb top 250, although that's a list I've completed like 6 times.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps updating, and then they're like, oh, I haven't completed it anymore.
Yeah, and you don't want to run out and watch those movies because they might be gone in a year anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I watched Paddington 2, check. The next one was buy a projector. I did get a projector.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's only VGA,
Sure.
so it's not HDMI. So it's not like the nicest projector in the world. I still would like a nicer projector. It'd be fun to have like a 4K projector.
Yeah.
But
They have those
don't
short
have
throw
that.
ones where you only have to be like a foot off the wall. They're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
No, like I actually have the perfect place for it, right? Because James, you've been in my living room.
Mhm.
I just have nothing on my wall, except a TV. If I just take the TV down, I have this huge empty wall that I could project onto. But
You gotta put a screen up though.
do you?
Oh yeah, don't project on drywall.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because
the texture and the screens are reflective, so that you get a little bit brighter picture, a little bit better quality.
Yeah. You can paint the wall specifically though to like be non-reflective and stuff like that. Special paint.
It's possible I did that. I don't know what paint I
You
used.
didn't.
You didn't.
It's possible. I mean, it's possible. I don't know what paint I used.
You'd have to use a very specific, pretty expensive paint.
You probably use like Sherwin-Williams,
Spare
whatever.
no expense.
So
No. I think I remember going in and saying like, I want something non-reflective.
And you painted your entire
non-textured.
downstairs in it?
Non-textured.
Yeah.
I think I did.
Sure.
ceiling, you never know. You just do the whole thing. I want to project anywhere I want.
My third resolution, which I did not do, is make a video essay.
Oh, yeah. You wanted to do that. I remember.
I wanted to do that. And I blame James because he said, "Oh, I'll help with that."
I
And he
did?
didn't help with that at all. You did. You said, "Oh, let me know. I'll help with that."
Yeah, let me
And then
know,
no.
meaning you reach out to me, not me motivate you.
I posted formal notice in the form of a podcast episode uploaded to an RSS feed.
Don't blame this one on me, Zach. This has nothing to do
No.
with me.
I'm
This
not
is-
blaming you.
Implied oral consent,
You
not
just
express
said-
written consent. So
You just said I blame James. And now
No,
I said
James.
don't blame me, and you're saying I'm not blaming you.
James, I don't blame you. It's just that I blame you for me not doing this resolution.
Okay, well that's not
It's-
blame
but
at
don't
all.
take
I
it
guess.
Don't take it personally,
All right.
okay?
Fair enough.
It's just your fault. But I still would like to make a video essay, so maybe that'll go on my next year resolution. We'll see.
All right. Kyle, did you make any new movie resolutions?
I did. I actually just added a third one. So I'm
Okay.
going to start with that one,
Let's
and then
hear
we'll
it.
get into the other two. So the one I just added, and this is inspired by Zach, is to complete the Reddit top 250 as it stands of 2019. Because I'm only missing two movies. One of them is Paris, Texas. And one of them is First Reformed. That's like a twofer right there. So might as well just
Sure.
get it done with. So
Especially if they're not updating the list, then it can stick.
it can stick around. Yep. So that's resolution number one. Complete the Reddit top 250 as it stands. Resolution numbers 2 and 3 were actually homework assignments that I gave to you guys. And we're going to go through them here. There are two things I wanted to do in 2023. One is I wanted to watch more documentaries because I don't watch probably as many as is acceptable as a Cinereelist host. I think Cinereelist is known for the documentaries that are watched, and I don't participate in that. So I need to at least try my hand at it, and maybe I will be inspired to watch more documentaries. And then number 2 is I want to re-examine some movies that I gave like 2 stars or below to, that you guys think, you know what, Kyle, give this a second watch. Maybe you're missing something. So I gave each of you homework, and I wanted each of you to give me 3 docs that I've never seen before that I should watch, as well as 3 movies that I have seen before that I want to re-examine. And James, I'm going to go with you first.
Sure.
Which 3 docs did you bring?
So the documentary, you have to watch these? Like you can't get out of it?
I mean, it's a resolution. So as much as we complete resolutions,
Okay, so in order to actually get the check mark next to this one, you have to watch all 3, no matter
I have to
what
watch
I
all
say.
3 of these documentaries, correct?
Nice. We'll start with Beyond the Mat. First of all, I'm not trolling you with these. These are legitimately movies I think you'll enjoy. I'm not trying to screw you or anything.
This is the wrestling one, correct?
It's a wrestling documentary. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what your relationship is with wrestling. It doesn't matter because this is a great documentary, even if you don't watch wrestling. It's awesome. It's like The Wrestler, but in documentary form, where it's like
Okay.
you're following around these guys and they're beat up and they're talking about how much they love it, and yet it's like in different ways destroying their lives in one way or another. So yeah, Beyond the Mat is great from 1999. I also picked Kurt and Courtney from 1998.
Okay.
Which is a music documentary about Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. And but it's not a history lesson. It's about this British reporter named Nick Broomfield who comes to the United States to learn all about Kurt and Courtney. So you're like following him around as he learns about Kurt and Courtney.
I may have seen this movie. Is this where he's like digging into the conspiracy theory of whether she had him killed or not?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have it checked. I think I've seen this movie, however.
All right, then I'll have to come up with the alternative. While Zach's talking, I'll come up with an alternative one.
I apologize. All right. Well, I'm
That's
going
all
to
right.
mark that as watched right now. So.
And finally,
It's that easy.
you gotta watch Dear Zachary, A Letter to a Son about his father.
Okay. You're trying to kill me, aren't you?
I'm not trying to kill you, but just know that this is potentially, maybe it won't be an intense experience, and so don't casually turn this one on. Just like, on a night where you don't want to go to sleep right after. Just watch Dear Zachary, because it's a really well made documentary with a unique sense of voice to it. Like, the person making the documentary matters, and they're making it for a very specific reason. And a lot of docs don't wear their motivations on their sleeves quite as blatantly as Dear Zachary does. And I think it's a great example of a mission documentary in a weird way. But it's good. And
You heard me say that Saving Private Ryan made me cry at the end, right?
This won't make you cry. It might make you want to throw your TV out the window.
Unfortunately, my TV is my living room wall, so that's gonna be challenging.
I mean, luckily,
watch it in your basement.
Luckily, 2008 was like 14 years ago. So when you're done watching it, you could go on YouTube and look it up and like get a little more information as far as what happened after 2008. But in 2008, when I saw it, I was like, it's a good one. Check it out. Just be warned, it's an intense experience.
Awesome. All right. Well, I've added 2 of those to my watch list, and if you think of the third, throw it up.
I'll get a third
Zach,
while Zach's talking.
What do you got for me for docs?
So what I did is I picked 4.
Okay.
And I was going to let you veto one.
Okay, great.
Okay. So one is Free Solo. It's a climbing documentary that I just really loved. And it's very well shot. It's got cool central character. I think it's the same people that shot The Rescue. Is that right?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. So Free Solo.
Okay, great.
Okay. The other one is Nathan For You, Finding Francis. I don't know if you've watched any Nathan For You.
I have not.
Okay. I think you'll like Nathan For You a lot because you like Impractical Jokers.
I do. Yep.
I think you'll really enjoy Nathan For You. And I think you could watch Nathan For You, Finding Francis. It's the final episode of the season. But like
the series.
None of his episodes of the series, yeah. No, of the season. He's potentially doing more.
Oh, it's done.
Really?
Nathan For You is
He's moved
done.
on?
Yeah.
Okay. But they're all like, it's like Impractical Jokers in the sense that like they're all episodic. They don't really connect with each other. James would disagree because, there's a character in it that has appeared in a former episode, but who cares?
He appeared in every season, like all 4 seasons. And there is a light arc to the series. I think you absolutely could watch the episode that Zach's talking about. That's a full length film. But without having watched the rest of the series, you won't have a lot of context for who Nathan actually is. And I think that's why the movie's more effective.
Well,
so.
I have it on the list because I think he would enjoy just watching the show and then watching this at the end.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you want like a show to watch while you eat lunch, Nathan For You, one of the perfect shows.
Okay. Well, I have veto power, so I'll see the other 2.
Exactly.
Yep.
Baraka is my next one.
I've seen Baraka.
Oh, it's not checked.
My gosh, Kyle.
It is not checked.
Get your letterbox game together.
Are you?
Yeah, no. I've seen.
I reviewed it.
Is it checked?
Yeah, I gave it 4 stars. It has a review and everything.
Oh,
let me read my review. Baraka is a nonverbal documentary that explores the cultures, animals, and beauty of our world. And it goes on from there. And then here's the final sentence of my review. Baraka marks my completion of Shaubin's Top 100 with a link to your Top 100.
That's really funny. Maybe I missed it I was comparing my favorite docs with docs you had seen, but is it any chance it's logged but not like clicked watched, or how sometimes it does that, like you rate it but it's not, I don't know, whatever.
I mean, I reviewed it, so I think if you review it and you log it
yeah
okay,
you no longer get veto power.
All right, that's fair. And
my third one is called Lake of Fire
Lake of Fire.
This is a documentary about the abortion debate.
Okay.
And it's just like, it's such an interesting documentary. It's all shot in stark black and white because the issue is so black and white for both sides. And it's just, it's a bunch of passionate people on both sides about this debate. And it's a fascinating slice of America, I guess.
2.5 hours.
It's great. It's
All
really
right.
good.
I'll watch Baraka again.
Plus, you asked for this.
I did.
No, it's really good. It's really good.
All right. Well, that's 3 good ones, or 2 good ones and a longie. So we'll see.
A longie.
Okay, Kyle, have you seen Lost in La Mancha?
Go ahead.
Kyle, have you seen Lost in La Mancha?
I have seen Lost in La Mancha. Yes.
How about Rise from 2005?
I don't think I've seen Rise from 2005.
Okay, watch Rise.
I
That's the
can't.
other one I'm assigning you.
I can't find it.
It's a documentary directed by David LaChapelle, who directed music videos. It's about crunk dancing.
Okay.
Which the youths did circa 2005. Like inner city youth. And it's like part tribal dancing, part, I don't know, spazzing out. It's kind of awesome. And the documentary is really visually interesting.
Send me. I can't find it on Letterboxd. I'm sure it's out there. Send
Rise
me, like,
with
the
a Z.
Letterboxd.
Rise with
with a Z.
Yep. Rise with a Z. 2000.
Oh, that's no wonder I can't find it. Oh, Crunk Rise. I got you now. All right. And 86 minutes. See, thank you, James.
You're welcome.
All right.
It's very much like Paris is Burning. It's like you'll get embedded it with a group of people where you're like, without the existence of this documentary, you'd never know these people. You'll be happy to know them when you're done, type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it features Tommy the Clown, so you can't go wrong.
Absolutely.
Kyle, I looked up our numbers. I've seen exactly 200 more documentaries than you.
That does not surprise me whatsoever. All right, so the other one I gave to you guys as homework was 3 movies each, so 6 total movies that I need to re-examine. Things I gave 2 stars or below that you guys think, A, you think I'm wrong, or B, you're like, I think maybe Kyle could find something in this. So I'm curious to know if you're just like, I love this movie and you hate it, so watch it again. Or if you're like, I think you missed something, give this a second shot.
This one was tough for me because I noted that you have a lot of movies that you rate 2 stars that are like stone cold classics, and I haven't seen those either. So the list that I ended up with are like not necessarily movies that I think you might get more out of. They're just movies that I happen to like that you don't like. And so I think I'm going to force you to rewatch them in order to get the check mark on this. So
I asked for this, so bring it on.
Spider-Man 3 from 2007. You got to reevaluate this one.
Okay.
It's way better than you remember. And like the things you probably hate about it in retrospect are goofy and fun, in my opinion.
I'm okay with that. Great. On the
Vertical Limit from 2000.
Vertical Limit,
which is a mountain climbing movie that's like action, and I don't even remember who's in it. It's like a bunch of forgettable people from the time.
It's, Chris Robbins in it. Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's a movie nobody should care about, but I like it a lot from 2000.
I watched this movie on the lobby room TV in my dorm room freshman year, with 8 other people. So
it's a guilty pleasure of mine for sure. And I have an alternative pick in case Zach picks this one. Moulin Rouge from 2001.
I knew it.
You gotta rewatch Moulin Rouge. And if Zach picked it, it's fine, Zach. I got an alternate if you don't.
I knew I was asking for this when I did this. All right. It's on the watch list.
It's not just because I want to force you to rewatch a movie you hate. It's because I think Moulin Rouge is a good Baz Luhrmann movie, and that other things clouded your first watch. That's my opinion.
Fair. Okay. I mean, so far Baz Luhrmann is 2 for 3 for me, so there's a great chance that he could be 3 for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is such a weird list to make because you hate all these movies. And so basically, I'm picking movies that you already hate.
Yeah.
Like, there's no good choice here. You're going to be like, oh, I have to watch this. Great. You know what I mean? So I made a list of like 13.
Oh,
right?
thanks. Okay.
I kind of have 3 separate good pairs, I would say.
Okay.
So I want to know a little bit more from you about what you're looking for, okay? Are you looking for movies that like don't deserve to be as low, but they're not like great movies, they just don't deserve to be at the bottom of the barrel? Or are you looking for movies that like I genuinely think are interesting movies that for some reason you hate but like have value?
I think the second one. Movies where I miss something.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, so that one does include Moulin Rouge.
Okay, that's fair.
But like I said, I have tons of alternates. The
Okay.
other one, and you're gonna love this, Me and You and Everyone We Know.
No, Zach, why? No.
that movie, there is a lot of interesting stuff going on. And I think you're gonna have to man up and get past whatever preconceptions you have about Miranda July.
I don't have preconceptions. I've seen the movie. I have just conceptions.
We're gonna see if you can find some value in there. And then I guess so I'll tell you some of the other movies I had, right?
Okay.
I don't know why Armageddon, I don't know why you hate that movie.
No.
You gave it like half a star.
Because the last time I watched it, it was like in college. I flipped over to the channel and I thought it was a trailer for the movie because it was so like cut. It was the actual movie. I thought it was like a mashup or something.
I think The Other Guys is funny.
Okay.
I'm surprised that you don't.
That was my
You know what?
alternate.
I
Yeah, okay.
45-minute rule the other guys. I will watch it again.
Okay. Let's do that then.
Okay.
So Moulin Rouge for James, Other Guys, and Me and You and Everyone We Know.
Okay. Great.
I mean, I could have given you Jerry. I think you'd rather take Me and You than Jerry.
I feel like James is at least like trying to be like, hey, I think you might like this. And then Zach, you're like, Cal, I know you hate these movies. Watch
No,
them again.
I do think you'll like Moulin Rouge.
Me too.
And James, you like Jerry, right?
I love Jerry.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well,
Are you curious about the other ones I wrote down?
sure. I'm going to say you can't give me Jerry and Me and You and Everyone You Know.
Exactly.
So you have
No,
to choose
I'm
one or
not.
the other.
I'm giving you The Other Guys and Me and You.
Wait,
Okay,
wait.
yeah, what are the-
Why is Kyle making the rules here? He said pick 3
Yeah.
movies. Zach can pick any
Silly.
3 movies he wants.
Yeah. Here's the other ones I wrote down. Victoria, I think, has a lot of good stuff in that.
Yeah. No.
Fear and Desire, I think you should revisit because you irrationally hate that movie.
Okay. Oh, the Kubrick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hitch, I don't know why you hate that movie. That's a good movie. That's a fun time. 300.
Okay.
Jerry, Napoleon Dynamite.
No, hate Napoleon Dynamite.
30 minutes or less, I think is legitimately funny.
Mm-mm,
Yeah,
don't like
I
that one
45-minute rule that one.
Yeah. Gone in 60 Seconds. You hate that
either.
movie?
Oh, that one's fun.
Yeah. No, I told you the story about how I watched this, right?
No.
Remind me.
Okay, so I was helping my brother buy a used car. And
Oh, yeah. You watched it at the dealership.
we were at the dealership long enough to watch the entirety of Gone in 60 Seconds on cable with commercials. So I just associate that movie with this awful used car, which we didn't buy the car in the end. It was such a waste of my afternoon.
So it's less about the movie and more about the circumstance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the circumstance you see a movie could definitely influence how you feel about that movie.
I agree.
And the last one that I considered is also a movie that I hate. It's Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Crystal Skull. I wanted you to take the bullet and tell us if it's any better than we first thought.
I am probably going to rewatch it this year with the
Me
new
too.
indie coming out. So
Yeah, me too.
it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
I've already rewatched Raiders and then Last Crusade, both with Galen. So he can't do Temple of Doom yet. That's a little too much.
All right. So Kyle, where did you land with these movies? What are the 6?
Oh, I just added a bunch. I don't know if we actually got to 6. Let me see what I put on my watch list here. So I have
You
The
got
Other Guys.
Spider-Man 3.
Do we have 3 each?
We have 3 each.
Yep.
Oh, I thought we had 2
Nope.
each.
Spider-Man
So-
3, Vertical Limit, Moulin Rouge were my picks. Zach's picks are
Me and You and Everyone You Know. The Other Guys. Zach, you get one more pick. And whatever you say, I will put on my list.
Oh, you didn't say you'll watch. You said you'll put it on the list.
Well, I mean,
To get the check
that's the
mark, he's
goal.
got to watch.
Right? Yeah.
It's got to be Gone in 60 Seconds.
Okay, great. Gone in 60 seconds. It is.
He's being nice to you, Kyle.
I am being very nice to you. I hope you recognize that.
Do you want to do Jerry?
Well, I like Jerry.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna do Jerry.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. How long is that turd?
It's not that long from my memory.
Great way to go into a movie.
Under 3 minutes. Okay. All right. Got it, Jerry. It's on the list. No, and I promise with these 6, I will go an open mind. I'm not gonna hate watch these. I'm not gonna suffer through it and give them 1 star just to spite you guys. I'm gonna go open mind. I'm gonna look for things that I could like.
Look for things to like.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be honest. And I might be like, you know what? That was great. Or no change, or no, it was worse. So it could be one of the 3. But I will be honest.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, that was Kyle's new
Sorry, that took
movie
so long.
resolutions. Mine we can burn through. I'm not trying to make this a meme, but I really want to watch the remaining Yorgos Lanthimos movies. Despite
once the hype dies down.
Right. Despite solid proof that I don't. I really do want to watch My Best Friend, Canetta, and Alps, and have said I've seen his entire filmography because I think he's interesting. And yeah, I'm leaving it on the list for the 4th year in a row. It's going to happen this year. Also, I want to blind watch 5 Criterion Collection Blu-rays I already own. So it has to be movies I've never seen before on a Criterion Blu-ray that I've already paid for. So I should watch it. So I'm going to watch at least 5 in 2023. And finally, I'm going to watch 5 movies from the 1920s.
Ooh.
According to Letterboxd, I've watched 1 from the 1920s.
Oh.
The one I've watched is The General, starring Buster Keaton. That movie I gave 4 stars. So right now I have a 4-star average for movies from the 1920s. And I think if
I saw your highest rated decade.
I think I can find 5 more that are either 4s or higher, right? There's got to be 4s or higher over the course of that 10 years. So
do you want some recommendations?
I do. Put them in an email.
Okay.
Zach, what's your if anybody has recommendations, put it in an email for me.
That's funny. Okay. So the Sight and Sound every decade updates their list of the greatest movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I had previously, before this year, seen the top 100. But they just updated the list for 2022 after a decade. And now there are 8 movies in the top 100 that I haven't seen.
Okay.
Including 2 movies in the top 50. So my first resolution is to see the 2 movies in the top 50. My second resolution is to see all 8 movies in the top 100.
Okay.
Cool.
So to get the top 50, I just need to see a movie called Daisies and a movie called Wanda.
Never heard of
them.
them.
And they both look, I hadn't heard of them either, but they both look interesting and I'm excited to do that.
Nice.
And then my third one might be just to watch more movies than last year.
Okay. I think that's achievable. Although, the older your kids get at this age, the more time they take. So it's going to take a concerted effort, I imagine.
You seem to watch Daisies with them.
Yeah, maybe. It's a it's a 1966 freewheeling madcap feminist farce.
Oh, Jacob's going to love it.
All you got to do is actually record your rewatches and you'll blow that resolution out of the water, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, right, sure. Yeah, definitely. Maybe that'll be my third resolution, to record my rewatches.
Sure. Awesome. So those are our movie resolutions. We our final list for this episode is our top 10 most anticipated movies of 2023. So looking forward now to 2023, these are movies that we are the most excited about or interested in, or other descriptive words. Kyle, why don't you start off with your list?
Sure. I realize a lot of these are franchise or IP movies, but I think that's just because things you recognize.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that I'll be blown away by other movies next year. But the ones I'm looking forward to are number 10, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Intrigued by that. We'll see where it goes.
Title.
Number 9, Barbie, the Greta Gerwig movie. That's who knows what that's going to be, but I want to see it. Number 8, Dune Part 2, Denis Villeneuve. Number 7, Elemental, the new Pixar movie. Number 6, Beau is Afraid, Ari Aster movie with Joaquin Phoenix. Intrigued by what that guy's going to do. Number 5, Fast 10. Fast 9, yeah, not so hot on that one, but maybe Fast 10 could recover from the spin. That's a car joke. Number 4, Oppenheimer, new Nolan movie. Who knows what he's going to give us? It's Nolan. Number 3, John Wick 4. Number 2, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, one of the most complicated movie titles of the upcoming year. And then the one I'm most excited for next year is Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse.
Part 1.
Is that a part 1 also?
They're not putting it in the marketing, but it's a part 1.
It is a part 1. Okay, so then I want to say that Mission: Impossible Dash is more complicated than just Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse, but they're pretty close.
Sure. Well, we definitely have a little bit of crossover going with my list, which is all good. We know which ones we're definitely watching for the podcast. My number 10 is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, like after 33 years, we're finally getting an Indiana Jones sequel. Harrison Ford's last Indiana Jones movie. John Williams, last time he's scoring a movie, period. He announced like this is his last movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The first
dudes of the 90s, so
the first not directed by Steven Spielberg, first Indiana Jones not directed by him, is directed by James Mangold, who did Logan, which was awesome. So maybe he can bring an interesting Logan-esque essence to Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones. I'm interested. My number 9, Poor Things. Speaking of Yorgos Lanthimos, this is his latest. It's a modern take on the Frankenstein story. Don't know any.
Yeah, starring Emma Stone.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
And Willem Dafoe's in it.
That makes me even more interested, for sure. My number.
She's the Frankenstein.
Who?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. Oh, so it's more like Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, a woman has her brain replaced with the brain of an unborn child.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I can't wait. It's sure to be all kinds of messed up, I imagine. My number 8, The Killer, which comes out in November on Netflix. This is David Fincher's latest movie starring Michael Fassbender and Tilda Swinton. I'm into it. My number 7, previously mentioned, Oppenheimer, comes to us in July from Christopher Nolan. Kyle mentioned it. The cast is nuts in this movie. Like I really don't have a lot of interest in the subject matter, like the guy who created the atomic bomb or something like that. But this cast, like Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Rami Malek, Florence Pugh, Benny Safdie, Josh Hartnett, and Kenneth Branagh is like
Gary Oldman.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, there's people that are very well known I didn't even mention that are in this movie. It's just insane. I'm curious to know how many lines some of these people have in the movie because I bet it's really short. My number 6, previously mentioned, Mission: Impossible Dash Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is a holdover from my list last year. I thought we were getting this in 2022, but
yeah, that's from last year too.
Dune 2 is my number 5 in November. Kyle and I in lockstep on that one. My number 4, Beau is Afraid in April. This is the Ari Aster movie that Kyle mentioned as well. Supposedly, it's 4 hours long. Can't wait.
I'm sure it is right now. I doubt the release version will be 4 hours long.
He said he's trying to release the 4-hour version because he regrets not releasing the 4-hour version of Midsummer in theaters. He says that people that go see his movies would rather see his movie, not whatever he's trimmed it down to like fit. I think he's right. I think Ari Aster people absolutely want to see the 4-hour version in the movie theater. I do. Anyway, my number 3, previously mentioned, Spider-Man: Across the Spider-Verse Part 1. Another holdover. thought we were getting that this year. They pushed it back. My number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, James Gunn's last Guardians movie. My favorite MCU property. Can't wait. And my number 1 most anticipated, another holdover, but supposedly we're getting this in May, King of the Flower Moon from Martin Scorsese on Apple TV. It's a Western, supposedly. And I think, what's his name? Leo's in it, amongst others. And I'm looking forward to it. Zach?
Sweet. So Dune Part 2, the Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Knives Out 3, Barbie, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Avatar. Is Avatar 3 supposed to come out this year?
Oh, that's right.
I think you're right.
I should have put that on my list.
Yeah.
I don't think it will. I think we'll get 2 years in between, even though he says we're going to get it next Christmas. I think they're going to pull the plug.
Okay.
Oppenheimer, I'm very excited for. I mean, 1, because it's Nolan. 2 is because the book that I'm currently reading is called The Making of the Atomic Bomb by Richard Rhodes. And it's like a crazy like it's so long. It starts in like 1915 with like the scientists, like learning about like how atoms work. And it goes through like the science and then the politics and the actual making of it. And so Oppenheimer is a big character in this book, because it's a history book. And so I'm super excited to see it play out in the movie. Very excited about that. The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Because the first movie I saw in the theater was The Little Mermaid. And I'm going to try to have the first movie my daughter sees to be this Little Mermaid.
Are you going to pre-watch it and then take her to it just to make sure it's
probably
not?
not.
Oh, you're going to roll the dice on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll read like the parent guide, and see if anything's crazy. I doubt it's. I mean, there might be some scary bits, but
it's not only scary bits; it's scary bits on a ginormous screen she's never experienced with like immersive sound in a dark theater with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah. No, I just like the symmetry of it. Really, our first movies were the same. But I was probably 7 when it came out. And so she'll be 5 or 4. So maybe that's. Well, I'll evaluate. I'll call an audible if it's going to be a problem. I also have Poor Things on my list. I have The Way of the Wind, directed by Terrence Malick, a dramatization of several episodes in the life of Christ, which this sounds amazing to me. A Terrence Malick movie, also a Jesus movie. It has people like Mark Rylance in it, Ben Kingsley. I think this could be incredible.
Do you know what movie sounds amazing?
What?
The Passion of the Christ, but directed by Malick.
Oh, sure. Well, that's what this will be, The Way of the Wind.
Probably. Okay, yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah. Megalopolis is directed by Francis Ford Coppola, starred Adam Driver, and it's about an architect who wants to rebuild New York City into a utopia after a devastating disaster. So I have no idea what this could be, but it also has a very big cast.
I think there's a 50-50 we get that. It's been in the news recently about like just huge production problems.
Okay, I gotcha. Forrest Whitaker in it, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah. I mean,
Aubrey
Apocalypse
Plaza.
Now had huge production problems too, so
Yeah. And then last is Spaceman. It's by Johan Rennick. He's the guy. What did he do? He did. Man, I'm blanking on what he did. So that means
what's Spaceman about? Give us that.
He did Chernobyl.
Oh, okay. The show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The HBO show.
Yeah. Spaceman stars Adam Sandler and Carey Mulligan, and he's an astronaut that's sent off into the galaxy, and he comes back and he like doesn't know what to do with himself. But then also there's a creature hiding out on his ship. So I think it's going to be serious Adam Sandler with Carey Mulligan and Paul Dano by the guy that did Chernobyl. So I'm interested to see what that is.
Yeah, Carey Mulligan and Adam Sandler in the same movie just do not make sense in my brain, but I'm into it.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
That's my list.
All right.
I think Dune 2 were a big winner. That hit all 3 of our lists. What else hit all 3?
Indiana Jones. Mission Impossible.
Right.
Yep.
I think those were the big
Those are
winners.
the big ones. Oppenheimer
For sure.
Nice. Okay, well, those are great. Most anticipated lists to go out this episode like we do every year. We're going to talk about other notable movies that came out in 2022, and I need you guys to hot take them for me, okay? So we're going to go through them as fast as possible. And you let me know if you hear one that you want to know about or that you want to give an opinion on. Here we go. Starting with horror movies. Fear. Sick. This is going to sound like word salad as I read these horror movies. Fear. Sick. Skinamarink.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Okay.
I'm not going to see it.
All right.
Is that title supposed to be about the Elephant Show song?
Sharon, Lois, and Bran?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you know what I'm talking about, James?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
You don't know?
Skinamarink-a-dink-a-dink?
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that song, but I don't know what it's related to. Isn't that?
It's from Sharon, Lois, and Bran.
I don't know what that is. I just
It was
heard
a
the song
PBS
before.
show from the 80s.
You say so.
I do say
Why would
so.
he lie? Why would he lie?
There's Something Wrong with the Children is the title of a horror movie that comes out this year. Knock
I'm sure there is.
Knock at the Cabin from M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm curious by that one. Yeah.
Consecration. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
No.
Did Winnie the Pooh go into like
did.
free
Public
IP?
domain.
Okay.
Yeah.
It went into public domain and somebody immediately blasted out a Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
I'm surprised Disney let that happen. I thought Disney owned Winnie the Pooh.
They did, but they don't anymore.
That's shocking from Disney.
I mean, I think they still own the IP on the visual representation of Winnie the Pooh as they own it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the name itself, they cannot enforce other people not using it. Scream 6 comes out this year.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Didn't 5 just come out like last year or 2022, whatever you want to call it?
Right. Well, they didn't actually call it 5. They just called it Scream and acted like they were rebooting it.
Oh, okay.
But they
But it was 5 and this is Scream 6?
Right. Exactly. The Pope's Exorcist. Which I just like that title.
Is that the person that exorcises a demon out of the Pope, or is it the Pope's personal exorcist?
I don't know anything about it, but if we're to trust the title, I think it's the person who excised the Pope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Pope
It's an
is
important role.
Okay. All right.
Evil Dead Rise, which is the next Evil Dead movie.
Nah.
The Boogeyman, which is based on a Stephen King novel, and this is a Blumhouse movie, so I'm sure Zach will love it. He likes Blumhouse movies.
Counting the days.
Yep. Insidious 5.
Nope.
What's the plot of Insidious? Like, what is their big
It's
bad?
a haunted house movie, and the first one is very watchable, and then they get unnecessary from there.
Okay.
For sure.
Just bulldoze the house.
You'd think. There's probably a lot of easy solutions to this, but They Listen, which I don't know anything about. The Nun 2. If you loved The Nun, you got another one coming on that. The Exorcist, which is a reboot, like a full reboot of the Exorcist series.
Okay.
Then you've got the untitled Saw movie. They're making another Saw movie after promising the last one was the last one.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the last one, the Chris Rock one.
Yeah. It's almost like they lied to us.
Ugh.
I'm pretty mad about it. Okay, so that's horror movies. Superhero movies. In February, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Are you into this, Zach?
I'm not really excited about this, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't
Are you
care.
just burning
I
out
think
on
I don't
Marvel
care.
movies or Ant-Man movies or Paul Rudd? Which one is it?
No, I'm not burning out on Paul Rudd. I like Paul Rudd. I think I'm burning out. I don't see any progress or arc or anything that I care about in Marvel. I just want the main movies, and I don't care about these little side movies.
Does it help that this is billed as the start of Phase 5 in the MCU? Like this is supposedly the start of like the next major, movie snapping type.
No, that
storyline.
helps. That helps. I will say the trailer feels like the entire movie. I'll be very excited if the trailer is just the first 20 minutes. but the trailer feels like the whole movie
Oh,
is mapped
you feel
out
like you've
for
already
you.
seen it? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
And
And most of it is in the quantum world, which is just red and dark and
Mhm.
uninteresting.
in March for superhero movies, we've got Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Zach's rolling his eyes. Kyle doesn't care
Oh,
either, I
man.
imagine.
Shazam was so terrible.
Nope,
I
don't
didn't like it
care.
either. Next, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which
That was on my anticipated for this year.
Yeah, I'll see it.
same here. Followed by DC's The Flash. Are we just out on
They're
DC?
actually coming out with that?
Yeah, it's on the schedule.
Yeah.
They've said that like they're going to keep it on the schedule.
Wow.
I mean, I know it's pretty amazing, like what you can do if you're in a major franchise that's already filmed, and they're just going to overlook it and release it anyway.
Yeah, but he said
unless
he
you're
was sorry.
Batgirl.
Sure, I'm
Or they
interested in
said they
it,
were sorry.
but only because Michael Keaton returns to his Batman role in the movie. I'm curious what that is, but that's the only reason I'm interested. Then we've got The Marvels, another MCU movie featuring the kids of the Marvel universe.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know anything about that.
DC's Blue Beetle.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I've seen
either.
that poster, but don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Kind of looks like a Mummy prequel or something like that. Kraven the Hunter from Sony. This is like a, Venom style Spider-Man
Mhm.
spinoff.
I
and
think
then-
Craven's a cool character, but who knows if the movie's going to be any good.
Sure. I mean, if it's another,
Is it Craven with a K?
yes.
It is.
No, thank you.
I mean, that's from the comic books, though. It's not like they made a dumb choice. They made that dumb choice 60 years ago in the comic books. So, and then rounding out the year on Christmas Day, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
Oh, please no. Aquaman? Come on.
All right. Fair enough.
No.
In animated movies, we've got Super Mario Brothers, which was on Zach's list. We've got Elemental, which was on Kyle's list.
Looks great.
Supposedly a spiritual sequel to Inside Out, Elemental is. I don't know.
Oh,
exactly
sounds
what
great.
that
I'll
means.
tell you that Galen's very excited for Super Mario Brothers.
Nice. In August, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem, which is an animated reboot of the TMNT series.
Do we know the style of animation?
I don't, but it's rumored to be the 80s style, but with
Ooh.
upped production, whatever that
Mhm.
means. And what the only thing I find interesting about this particular iteration is that it's produced, not executive produced by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. And they have a decent history of taking comic book properties and adapting them for things without putting themselves in it and stuff like that. Like they did it with Preacher and another TV show that I'm forgetting the name of. Basically adapting things that people thought would never be
Mhm.
adaptable from comic books. So we'll see. Also animated Paw Patrol, the Mighty movie. I put this on the list because you guys have young kids. You might end up having to go to a Paw Patrol movie. I don't know.
Not that young for me.
All right.
My son loves Paw Patrol, but he's never seen a Paw Patrol show. He just has the toys. Yeah.
Could you imagine
And
taking him
because
to a
we've never
movie
s-
theater for the first time in his life, and all of a sudden he's learning what Paw Patrol actually is?
Well, he knows a lot about it just from the toy. The toys are very good.
Sure.
But my favorite dog from Paw Patrol was Rebel, and I just learned that his name is Rubble. But my son pronounced it like Rebel, and I just thought that was his name.
In November, we get a Chicken Run sequel. Chicken Run: Dawn of the Nugget. This one's direct to Netflix. And it is a full-fledged Aardman animation sequel movie.
Probably gonna watch it. Not gonna lie.
No, what's his name returning to the cast? I forget his name.
No Mel Gibson.
No Mel Gibson on this.
That's fine.
They recast. Also in November, Trolls 3 comes out. I like the first Trolls movie. Didn't see the other one or two, but I like the first one. In November, Wish from Disney Animation. I don't know anything about this, but it's the Frozen people, that group.
Okay.
Okay.
So it'll do numbers.
Right. And then rounding out in animation in December, Illumination's Migration, which I believe is Illumination's last movie. I think didn't they like dissolve or get bought or something like that? I forget.
I thought Illumination is Despicable Me.
What was I thinking of? Blue Sky? Maybe I'm thinking of Blue
Maybe.
Sky. I'm thinking of Blue Sky. I think Illumination.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Illumination was being dissolved.
But Migration is like about a family of ducks that migrates. We'll see. All right, here we got reboots, spin-offs, and sequels.
Okay.
They're remaking House Party, the 90s comedy.
I've never seen House Party.
All right.
Who's the duo? I can't think of their name. Kid and Play.
Kid
right?
and Play
That's
from the original.
Yep,
I don't know who it is in the new one, but
yeah.
then we've got a movie that's out right now that I want to go see. I don't know why I'm not watching that right now instead of doing this, but Missing, which is made by the guys that made Searching. Remember Searching? That movie that was like all through the computer screen?
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Missing is a spiritual sequel to Searching. Exact same crew, exact same screenwriters. They also directed that movie Run, I think it was the name of the movie, Kyle, that was on Hulu. Did you watch the movie?
Yeah. Was that the Sarah Polley movie?
With the girl in the wheelchair? Yep.
Yes.
You got it. It's those guys revisiting. They're also the guys that made the Google screen commercial. And then they eventually turned that into Searching. And now they've made a spiritual sequel to Searching called Missing. And I want to see it.
What's the conceit of Missing?
Probably similar to Searching, I would imagine.
I think it's through text. I think it's through phones instead of through a laptop.
Okay.
Yeah. Through VR goggles, I imagine. In February, we get Magic Mike's Last Dance, the third in the trilogy that nobody asked for.
Did you see the trailer for this?
Yeah, with Salma Hayek is in this one, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Steven Soderbergh didn't direct the second one. He's back for the third. He's into Magic Mike for sure.
Like, if you actually see Magic Mike, yeah, it's about dancing, but it's not really about dancing. That's just sort of the world he exists in. And then now it's just about dancing. It seems like, at least from the trailers.
I think it's about what's her name, Salma Hayek as well, like him being into her.
Well, right, but I'm saying is the movies weren't about male strippers. It was about like his character within the world of male strippers, but other things are going on. And now it just seems to be about the male stripping part of it.
Sure. I don't know why that didn't make your most anticipated, Kyle. Sounds like you're into it. Then we've got Creed 3, starring Michael B. Jordan. He's also directing it. First movie he's ever directed. I didn't like Creed 2, but I'll watch another one.
And this one looks good.
It's starring Jonathan Majors is the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. I'm down with this movie. I want to see it.
Lastly, in March, we got Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, starring Chris Pine. Maybe the third time they've tried to make a Dungeons and Dragons movie. We'll see if this one hits or not. Then we got Book Club 2: The Next Chapter. You guys big book club fans?
Yeah, Jane Fonda, she's just kind of cranking them out these days. I don't get it.
Sure. I know this was on Kyle's most anticipated list, but I'm still going to mention it because I found out something about it that blew my mind. Fast X has an estimated budget of $340 million.
Wow.
$340 million for that Fast and Furious movie. How much of it do you think is paying the cast?
Oh, I think half of that's the cast. A quarter of that is paying the producers, which is Vin Diesel.
Uh-huh.
And then the rest goes to the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone is back, except for The Rock. And they're adding Jason Momoa and Brie Larson to the series.
I'm so surprised they added Brie Larson because it just feels like the people that don't like Brie Larson are the same people that like the Fast and Furious movies.
For sure. Yep.
I agree. We're getting a new Transformers movie this year, Rise of the Beasts. Couldn't care less about that.
That's another anticipated movie for Galen. He saw the trailer for that and he wants to go see it. So
worked.
I may be seeing that one too.
Maybe it's just not made for me then.
You're right.
Then we've got Extraction 2 on Netflix, the Chris Hemsworth series.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that was coming out.
We've got a reboot of Haunted Mansion. the Disney ride.
Pass. No, thank you.
All right. We've got The Meg 2, The Trench.
The Trench, Mariana Trench.
I'm assuming that's what they're referring to.
Is it a bigger megalodon?
I normally wouldn't care about this, but for some reason, it's directed by Ben Wheatley, who directed Kill List and High Rise, which are very specific movies that I would
He's
not
the
associate
worst.
with somebody who directs The Meg 2.
So silly.
So,
hey guys, can I tell you something I'm excited about?
yes.
This month, not this month, in February, I'll be going to the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
Nice.
Isn't that exciting?
It's very exciting.
Is that a tiki bar in New Smyrna Beach?
No, I'm
Oh.
going on a cruise
Nice.
into the Bermuda Triangle. So we'll see if I come back.
So this may be one of Zach's last episodes. If
It
you have any
could be.
questions, now's the time to email at
Now's the
heyguys@cinereelists.com.
time.
For sure.
Yes, because I will be going to and I will be looking for quicksand while I'm there.
Well, if you do disappear, you'll never get to see The Equalizer 3. Denzel Washington is back in the most unnecessary sequel ever.
I liked Equalizer. How was Equalizer 2?
Equalizer 2 was good, but like in a very different way than Equalizer. Like there's still a little bit of like getting revenge type of stuff, but it's like more of a feel-good movie than the first Equalizer. I don't know what Equalizer 3 is going to be. A Haunting in Venice, which is the third movie in the Agatha Christie series. So the first one was Murder on the Orient Express. Then we had Death on the Nile.
This Branagh.
This is Kenneth Branagh again.
These are so bad.
Yeah, I've never seen any of these, and I don't want to.
Speaking of bad, The Expendables 4 is coming out this year.
Jeez.
Expendables 4. Then we've got THG: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the Hunger Games prequel.
Nope.
You guys,
Okay.
you guys aren't into it. I'm into it.
I
I like the Hunger Games.
I never finished the series. We saw like Mockingjay Part 1,
Mhm.
and then Mockingjay Part 2 came out. We're like, yeah, that's fine. I'm good.
Mockingjay Part 1 is like the worst part of the last book. And so I think they lost a lot of people on that, but you have to get through all that in order to get to the part 2, which is the resolution. So
Did not care after seeing
Mhm.
Mockingjay Part 1.
I like it. In December, we get Wonka, which is a prequel movie for Willy Wonka starring Timothy Chalamet as Willy Wonka. Kyle,
Who directed it?
I don't remember. Probably Tim
Okay.
Burton. Kyle, are you into this? You're the Chalamet hater on this show, I think.
Yeah, I just have yet to be impressed by Chalamet. Like I thought he was fine in Dune, but he's not my favorite part. And I just my favorite Chalamet role so far. And I think I mentioned this already. Don't Look Up.
Sure.
He just needs to play minor weird stoners, and I will be on board with him.
What if he's a minor, weird candy factory owner?
But he's not the minor character. It's called Wonka, and he plays
Okay.
Wonka. It's gonna be a lot of Chalamet.
So you'll only like Chalamet if he's barely in a movie.
Yeah, if this was called like Augustus Gloop or something, and he has a chance encounter with Chalamet, I'd be down with that.
All right.
So
Fair enough. Also in December, I'm guessing trying to collect Oscars, we've got The Color Purple, a musical adaptation of the book.
Okay.
And also, end of December, an untitled Ghostbusters Afterlife sequel.
huh.
Nobody
Okay.
cares about that. All right. Finally, we've got just kind of miscellaneous movies. We're going to burn through these. We've got Plane, which is an action thriller that takes place on a plane starring Gerard Butler.
I believe it takes place on a plane crash. There's not even much plane in it.
It takes place on a
On a
Sorry,
plane
after
crash?
a plane crash.
Oh,
after
really?
a plane crash.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
You know more about it than I do. Then we got Infinity Pool, which is Brandon Cronenberg, son of David Cronenberg. His last movie, Repossessor, I think it was called,
Yeah.
was pretty good.
Do you
All
know
right.
anything about Infinity Pool? What's it about?
I don't know anything about it, but the poster is cool. Then you've got You People on Netflix. This is the comedy starring Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy.
I've seen this
You've seen the movie?
potential. Yeah, I've seen You People.
Did it just come out? and I didn't realize
It just came out, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Worth watching. Just thumbs up or thumbs down. Don't say it out loud. Only for the YouTube people. All right, there we go. That's the verdict. Then we've got, I don't know why I'm favoring the YouTube people, but we've got Sharper. It's an A24 movie with an Apple TV Plus release, psychological thriller starring Julianne Moore and John Lithgow. Weird combination. Then we've got Cocaine Bear. Anybody? No, not at all.
It's too memey. I don't know.
The trailer looks so dumb. I was gonna be into it just on the premise, based on a true story and all that. And the trailer looks incredibly lowbrow.
Okay. What if I told you it was directed by Elizabeth Banks?
That does not change the equation, unfortunately.
It explains everything.
It's honestly
like the real.
I would expect
the real story.
Go ahead.
Cocaine Bear killed nobody. Cocaine Bear just died, and they found cocaine in its stomach.
Sure, that's boring. Who wants to make a movie about that?
Yeah.
So, sounds like a 3-hour documentary Zach would recommend to me.
To be honest, so like the idea that Elizabeth Banks is directing that movie does give it like a little notch of intrigue to me. That it's not like just some jobber director. It's like they actually got a name. I mean,
have you seen the trailer?
I've seen the trailer. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine with it. It looks like a good time. I doubt it'll win any Oscars, but it might be fun to watch in a theater with a bunch of people. Although I'd be on board if it won Oscars. Movie that will not win Oscars, 80 for Brady. This movie.
This is the
like why does that exist?
Because it rhymes.
This is where.
I feel like,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think this movie and Book Club 2 is like 3/4 the same cast.
For sure. Yeah. 4 old ladies chase down Tom Brady. That's the synopsis. Then we've got Inside, which is a psychological thriller starring Willem Dafoe. He's like an artist that locks himself into a room and then can't find his way out, and he hasn't told anybody he's done it. And so he like goes crazy. Because
is this like inspired by Bo Burnham Inside?
I don't know.
Bo?
Yeah, Bo Burnham. That's what I said.
Okay.
My most anticipated March movie is 65, which is that movie with Adam Driver. It's like a sci-fi movie where he goes into the past and all of a sudden he has to fight dinosaurs. But he's like a military guy from the future, so he's got like awesome guns and stuff.
Well, that sounds awesome.
It's probably not going to be good, but look,
I'm totally down for that.
I mean, why haven't we had other dinosaur movies where people with guns are fighting them?
We need more dinosaur
like
movies.
Jurassic Park takes the premise a little too seriously. We need somebody to like really just kind of go all out with it. And maybe 65 will do it.
Lost World got a little there. Like Lost World had military guys. And same for Jurassic World. That had some, guns fighting with dinosaurs.
Yeah, I guess.
Not Lost.
I feel like they always pull the punch when it comes to like actually shooting an animal on screen, even the dinosaurs. You know what I mean? They just won't do it.
Well, they're the heroes. It's the military guys that are the bad guys in this case.
Right. Well, hopefully 65 has no conscience when it comes to that.
James really wants to hunt a T-Rex. Let's be honest.
I really
That's
do.
his actual goal.
We got A Good Person, which is a comedy drama written, directed, and produced by Zach Braff. I like Zach Braff movies. This is like one of his. Starring Florence Pugh and Molly Shannon.
Did they make this when they're still together?
Who? Zach Braff?
Zach Braff and Florence Pugh.
I didn't even know they were together.
Oh yeah, they recently broke up, but they were a couple for a long time.
I didn't know that. Kyle's got all the tea.
Yeah. Weren't you following the Don't Worry? It's all part of the Don't Worry Darling stuff going on here. And
I only brushed that controversy
okay.
On the edge. I didn't go too deep. Evidently Kyle was real deep on that one.
Morgan Freeman's in that movie.
Just Morgan Freeman?
Oh yeah, that's Florence Pugh's current boyfriend.
And Florence Pugh.
Next we've got Air, which I'm into, but nobody's talking about. This is directed by Ben Affleck. It reteams Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. maybe for the first time. Have they been in a movie together since whatever it's called? Well, other than Dogma. They were in Dogma.
Yeah, and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And
I mean, other than Kevin Smith movies, I don't know as if they've been in the same movie since Good Will Hunting.
The Last Duel from last year.
You're right. They were in the last duel. You're right. I'm very
Are
wrong.
they in this movie?
They, I believe, are in the movie. Maybe they're just working on it together. I don't remember. But
I think they just made it
could be.
or wrote it.
This is about the guy who worked for Nike who came up with the idea of signing Michael Jordan to a shoe deal.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's called Air, like Nike Airs.
I gotcha. I was looking at a 2015 movie named Air.
No, it's not that one. So maybe they are starring in it because you couldn't find their name on the other IMDb listing.
I couldn't.
Next, we've got Renfield, which is a horror comedy directed by Chris McKay, starring Nicholas Hoult, Nicolas Cage, Aquafina, and Ben Schwartz. And yes, Nicolas Cage plays Dracula in it, and I'm into it.
Nicolas Cage.
Zach's not into it. Kyle is unfazed, I would say.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sure. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which is based on the famous book from Judy Blume. This one stars Rachel McAdams, Benny Safdie, and Kathy Bates. I normally wouldn't say I'm into this, but it's directed by Kelly Freeman Craig, who did Edge of 17, and I really liked that movie. So maybe this one I'll like as well.
Okay. But the star is like a little girl.
I guess. I don't know. I only picked the names I recognize.
It's a Judy Blume movie.
Sure. Have you seen the poster for it? It
Yeah.
looks like an indie film, not like a movie for little girls. I don't know.
Is it yellow?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
No, I think it's like pinkish. But next up, we've got Paint. In this comedy, Owen Wilson plays a version of Bob Ross.
Okay.
All right.
That's really funny.
It made Zach giggle, just the premise.
No, it just sounds like a movie that like Netflix is like, okay, Bob Ross hits like a certain demographic. Owen Wilson does, smash them together, and we know we'll get 17 million viewers.
Right. And he'll get all his friends to cameo in it. And it probably won't be great, but it'll be watchable.
It sounds like the algorithm wrote that movie.
Yep.
For sure.
Chevalier, which is I guess that's how you say the name. It's a
Chevalier,
a biopic based on the French Caribbean musician. I don't know anything about it. I didn't note anybody in it, but it already has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's notable for that reason. Asteroid City, directed by Wes Anderson. New Wes Anderson movie this year. I know Zach's way out on Wes Anderson at this point. Kyle?
I mean, French Dispatch had its moments, but it's whatever. If we watch for the show, I'll see it, but I'm not anticipating it. Does he have 2 this year?
I don't know. This is the only one I know.
Okay, he might have a second one, but keep going.
This one takes place at a convention for young astronomers. We'll see. No Hard Feelings is a drama starring Jennifer Lawrence, a coming-of-age drama, produced by her as well. First producing gig for her. I'm into it. Harold and the Purple Crayon, another kids movie I included just for you guys. Live action kids movie based on a 1955 book of the same name. I had no context for this. Have you guys ever heard of this book?
I read Harold the Purple Crayon.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know it.
Yeah, it's like a kid's got this purple crayon. He's kind of draws his world around him.
Yeah, anything he draws becomes real.
Okay. Cool.
It's a good book.
Should I read it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you should read it.
It'll take you 2 minutes.
Yeah. You can read it in under 5 minutes for sure.
I don't know. I'm a slow reader. Next, we've got Strays, described as a live-action, adult, animated comedy film starring Will Ferrell, the voices, I'm assuming, of Will Ferrell, Isla Fisher, Will Forte, and Jamie Foxx.
Why wasn't this in your animated section?
Because it's live action / adult animated. Whatever that means.
What's it called?
Strays. Next, we've got Challengers from director Luca Guadagnino. the Call Me By Your Name guy. This one stars Zendaya as a famous tennis player caught in a love triangle. Are you guys into it?
I'd be curious to see how good her tennis is.
That's why you're going to watch it? Well, Luca
Yeah.
Guadagnino, famous for how well he captures sports on camera. So
Yeah. That's what I will be.
sure it'll
looking
be
for.
a fair judgment on that one. Next, Gran Turismo, based on the PlayStation video game, best-selling PlayStation video game. Don't care about this movie at all, except it's directed by Neil Blomkamp, who we haven't seen since 2015's Chappie. Now he's directing Gran Turismo.
It sounds like he's trying to get out of director jail.
That absolutely sounds like that. I agree.
Yeah.
Now we have Next Goal Wins, which is a sports comedy drama directed by Taika Waititi. Taika, I guess took his lumps for Thor: Love and Thunder. Now he's going back to the kind of indie-ish movie. This one's starring Michael Fassbender, of all people.
Where's he been?
I don't think I've ever seen a Michael Fassbender comedy.
Oh, you say where has he been?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually heard about this. For like the last 5 years, he's been into car racing, like Le Mans car racing.
Okay.
And now he's back in acting.
Interesting. He just took a 5-year break.
Yeah, like he just had this passion to compete.
More power to him. I'm into it. Next, we have True Love, a science fiction film directed and written by Gareth Edwards, who, if you recall, directed Monsters and the Godzilla reboot and Rogue One. And this movie stars John David Washington.
I like John David Washington.
I'm into it. Damsel, which is a Netflix movie. This is a fantasy film directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo, who directed 28 Weeks Later, a movie I love, and stars Millie Bobby Brown, Angela Bassett, and Robin Wright. I just like that cast. Thought it was awesome. Like Stranger Things girl, Angela Bassett, Robin Wright. Love it. Leave the World Behind, which is another Netflix movie. This is a psychological thriller starring Julia Roberts, who we haven't seen in a while, Mahershala Ali, Kyle's boy, Ethan Hawke, and Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him was the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
I haven't watched that yet. Worth watching in end of January?
Yeah, I mean it's worth it. It's 20 minutes or 45, whatever it is. So
I heard you should watch it before you watch Volume 3. Supposedly.
Oh, is it tie into the plot of Volume 3?
I mean, it's just like supposedly can't go like Guardians canon. So I don't know if it directly ties in, but
sure, I guess so. I mean, it's mostly just there's not a lot of Chris Pratt in it. They definitely got like Batista and Nebula and all those actors.
That's fine. I don't need to see Chris Pratt anymore.
Okay.
Just a few more here. We've got Rebel Moon, which is another Netflix movie. This one directed by Zack Snyder. And this is described as an epic space opera. You guys into an original property from Zack Snyder?
No.
Yeah.
A yeah and a no. All right.
No.
Fair enough. That is the end of December. There's I have 6 movies here that are to be decided dates that may or may not happen this year. We'll see. We've got When You Finish Saving the World, an A24 coming of age drama starring and directed by Jesse Eisenberg.
Is he coming of age? Isn't he like 40?
I doubt he's the coming of age.
Okay.
I imagine. Then we got Zone of Interest. This almost made my anticipated list. This is, I don't know anything about this other than it's directed by Jonathan Glazer, who directed Under the Skin and hasn't directed anything since. His last movie was 2013. So it's his follow-up to a movie I like a lot.
Okay.
Then we've got Ferrari, which is Michael Mann's Enzo Ferrari biopic starring Adam Driver.
I like Michael Mann. I'm intrigued.
All right. Maestro, starring and directed by Bradley Cooper. His follow-up to A Star is Born. And it's the story of Leonard Bernstein. The
He's
composer.
playing Leonard Bernstein. That's right.
Mhm.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Then we've got Showing Up, another A24 movie directed by Kelly Reichardt, aka First Cow and Meek's Cut Off. This one stars Michelle Williams.
Shocking.
I'm hoping we get this one this year. And finally, an untitled Napoleon movie, supposedly going to be released this year, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm
I'd
totally
love to
here
see
for
this.
this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been waiting for a good Napoleon movie for decades.
Sure. And then you add Ridley Scott and Joaquin Phoenix. For
Yeah.
some reason, Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon is 100% perfect in my brain.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
As far as casting goes. So those are the other notable movies that did not make our list that come out in 2022. We want to thank you guys for listening to this year's Hangover episode. We say it often, we mean it. We appreciate your listenership. Specifically, we want to thank our Patreons, though, who have come through for us year after year. They definitely came through for us in 2022. We got some audio gear upgrades with some of the Patreon revenue that came in this year. Hopefully you guys can tell that Kyle sounds better than he did before. We'll see.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Yes.
We're truly capturing your essence, Kyle. No longer are you muted.
I feel like the full Kyle is finally on display in this podcast, and everyone's better for it.
Carl?
It definitely is on full display. So we need to thank our Patreons, including especially Monsari, Marco, Logan, Amanda, Josh, Troy, Allen, Victoria, Scotty, Justin, Ryan, Scott, Adem, and Roger. We appreciate your support. And if you're interested in becoming a Patreon, just go check out patreon.com/Cinereelists. Before we go out, guys, we do this every year. We take a vote. Are we going to continue the podcast for another year?
I say we do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'll give that a thumbs up.
You
Let's keep
guys are
going.
going to do it for another year? All right.
Sure.
I vote yes as well. The yeses have it. Another year of Cinereelists, whether you want it or not. I think we're done. This one was a long one. If you made it this far, you're a real one. 2 hours and 56 minutes. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Do all the things we normally tell you to do. We'll be watching Knock at the Cabin probably next week if you want to go see that in theaters. Whether you do or don't, we'll also be talking the Oscar picks and playing some games as well. So there's something for everyone. We'll see you there. Until next time, keep it Cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.